The Browns, they're putrid. They're the worst team in the NFL.
The season, the 2024 season is over.
Lamar Jackson can't win the playoffs. He'll win a third MVP, though, so that's great.
Drew Sample is the most important piece of the Bengals offense next year.
Go Joe Burrow. He deserves to be MVP. I wish he was the Browns quarterback. Kind of mean that.
If you're looking for the most reactionary, silly, and unserious show on the internet, then you're home. Live from Hamilton, Ohio, it's Off the Bench by Chatterbox Sports on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Well, hello. We are the most silly show on the internet, aren't we? We bring in a lot of water. We're super silly. I'm Reed Mouse. Welcome to Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers, and a special thanks to Justin Kenner for letting me host today. You know, on the calendar, on our shared work calendar, which admittedly Kenner isn't on, I have this date circled for months. I was like, hey, this is my anniversary. I know it's going to be a very busy time for this time of year, so can I take that day off? Can I have that day off? But no. Justin Kenner comes right in and he goes, hey, I'm not coming in tomorrow. You've got to do this show, Reed. You do. So I don't care how much you love your wife. I don't care what plans you had. Cancel them. You're hosting the shows. Thanks, Justin. I'm just kidding. Happy to be here. And happy anniversary to Mariana. Love you. Guys, this is going to be a fun show. We got Jacob Tissett, Elliot Rearing.
The star of yesterday's show, Jacob Tissett.
I had a fun day yesterday.
Twitter yesterday.
I had a fun day.
Were you officially trending?
I might have been. No, it's always good when you can get on the Bearcat Journal. Anyone with that many followers, I just want to thank them for, shouting out a little old guy like me.
Yeah, just a little guy.
Just a little tiny baby.
That's right, with a big old hat. But we'll get to that later.
Elliot did the big old hat.
I thought the roasts were very funny yesterday. Jacob's my guy. He knows I'm a UC fan.
Elliot texted me to make sure I was doing okay. I don't think he realized how much fun I was having.
You want to know? Yeah, it is. I have a blast.
Oh,
when I
it
do
was
my
incredible.
Reds troll thing, like the Dear Reds fan thing, I have a blast just answering people because I don't take it seriously. I don't care. I'm not going to let what people say on the internet ruin my day or anything like that. I'm just going to have fun with it the entire time. And, you know what UC fans reminded me of yesterday? It was a swarm attack like Xavier fans.
No, it was. And they've got all the burners out yesterday. More burners in UC fandom than I would have hoped to know.
There was a lot, and I think I'm friends with a couple now.
You are, I think, Tonk.
My dear friend Tonk.
Tonk and you are good buddies now.
LinkedIn's.
Well, Bad Bearcat wasn't on our side. I tried to make a cute little joke, and Bad Bearcat just like, yeah. Okay, whatever, Bad Bearcat. But yeah, there's a couple burners out there that I was just like, why? There's other things to be mad about. I don't think the take I disagreed with, but I don't think it was so far off where it was outrageous. I don't think they're the UC is not the worst, and we'll get into it later. But UC is not the worst.
Feels like we're getting into it now.
No, we won't. I'm just saying UC is not the worst program that you could be a coach for. It's just not they're not. I think they're in the middle, in my opinion.
Well, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that right now.
Well, we'll do it now.
So that's later on the show. We're going to bring up some of the tweets. We're going to go into the Twitter, all the threads. Sean Spurlock said that Jacob has his own message board right now on Bearcat Journal, which is just incredible.
He updated about what's going on in it. So he said it started off by them just hating on me, saying it was such a bad take, but it has now shifted to them all talking about what they can do to make the program better and not be viewed as such a bad job.
So you've actually
I've lit a fire under UC fans.
You've ignited a flame in Bearcat fandom.
I think they should thank me.
And maybe it's going to be for the better.
That's right.
Maybe we're going to become a program.
Maybe next time you get to that glorious Cotton Bowl, you can get a win.
Boo. But yeah, I was checking on my guy Jacob yesterday, making sure everything was okay.
It is funny though because Jacob comes in here and we're talking about this and he goes, I think I won. And I said, Jacob, have you ever, in your reality, I'm not saying what actually happened, in your reality, how you think that you're living your life, have you ever lost an argument? And he goes, I don't think I have. And I was like, dang right. Dang right, Jacob.
Fair.
A lot of confidence in what he says, and he's
true.
steadfast in his opinions. Casey McAllister, we haven't entered you into the room. You look very red.
Well, thank you. I am very red today.
Still believes.
Sure. I'm just showing my support. I just want the team to be semi-successful in whatever endeavor they want. So, got to show some support for the Reds. But also, I'm showing a little support for the Bearcats because, they just got slaughtered by Jacob.
I love that.
Slaughtered.
I
I don't know about slaughtered.
I
mean,
do
it was
like also how
ruthless.
Elliott's like he's doing a tightrope here, where he's like, listen, I want to defend my boy Jacob here, but I also am a part of this fan base, so I don't know where to go. Like he doesn't know where he's at. But like I said,
I just want both teams to have fun.
yeah, that's it's not
right.
about the opinions that are made wrong, right or wrong. It's
That's
not
right.
about how tall a cotton bowl hat can get. It's about the friends you made along the way. We're going to get into the UC tweets in the third segment today. But we got a fun show for you today. We're going to go later on in the show. We're going to talk about Bengals spreads. We looked into it, Jacob, as you were putting them in today. 17 games. The Cincinnati Bengals are favored in 14 of them.
Yeah, 14 favorites. That's crazy. I mean, the team's good. I believe in them. 14 games as the favorite is pretty crazy.
And the three that they are not favored in are all road games, obviously. They are in Baltimore, they are in Kansas City, and they are in Jerry World. And I think the game in Jerry, and only one of them is more than a field goal. I think Kansas City's like 4. Every other thing, like in Baltimore,
Kansas City's 3.5.
It's 3.5. So I think Baltimore's 2.5.
3.
Okay, and then Dallas is just a dead even pick 'em pretty much. It's 1 point down there in Jerry World, which I don't want to say it too early here, but some things in the Mouse household are putting together that I might be going down to Jerry World.
Maybe a little visit of the Jerry World.
I think that'll be exciting.
I've been to Jerry World.
So have I.
For the Cotton Bowl.
For the Cotton Bowl.
I was there as well.
How tall do the hats go there?
They're pretty big hats. I think 10 gallons is underselling it, if
Yeah,
I'm being honest.
yeah, that's probably right.
Swallow a universe, if you will.
All right.
Very funny.
right,
Very, by far my favorite chirp of the night.
Oh, it was good.
All right, so let's get in. I'll be honest there. When Kenner did ask me to host the show, I've been so wrapped up in all the things that I'm doing outside of the content era and you know all the high school stuff and all the Miami stuff that I didn't have a whole lot of opinions. I didn't have a whole lot of things to unfold. In fact, I asked these guys, you guys are going to be carrying a heavy load. But one thing that obviously not being on the show yesterday, I didn't get to talk about. Obviously, I'm sure Justin had his opinions. I know Jacob, Elliott, and Casey have their own opinions. And it's about the whole Jamar Chase situation and about how he's gone back to practice and the hold-in is officially over. And to that, I've got one word, 3-let, duh. Oh, what? In what world? I think that across the board when it comes to this Jamar Chase situation in Cincinnati, every Cincinnati Bengals fan, every Cincinnati Bengals believer, and most people in media, national media, they saw this whole thing unfold, and they knew that Jamar Chase at some point was going to come back to the team. They knew at some point Jamar Chase was going to play. I don't think that was ever a serious doubt. Now, if there is some doubt that has been now cast over about his future with the Bengals, that's okay, but that's a bridge for another day. It's a big old duh that he was going to come back and practice. He was going to come back and play for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I love what this means and what this has continued to show for the Cincinnati Bengals and kind of the culture that has been built around to where, yeah, there is noise. Yeah, these are people that are trying to make livings doing what they do best in this world, doing what they were made to do in this world, and they're trying to make as much money doing it, and all the power to them. But when it comes time to play the game, when push comes to shove, these guys show up to practice. These guys are committed to this Cincinnati Bengals team. And I love the way that this new era, we've talked about this many a times on this show, we've talked about it on Chatterbox Bengals, is that we have to shed the fandoms. We have to shed our opinions of the old Bengals because we're not the old Bengals anymore. We have to shed that. And the people that can't shed that are the people in the national media. Are the Adam Schefters, are the Ian Rappaports, to where they had this opinion on what the Cincinnati Bengals are. Because for decades, for their entire professional history, the Cincinnati Bengals were this. And now it's changed. Now they're no longer that with the current people at the head of the Cincinnati Bengals, with Zach Taylor, with this Joe Burrow era. This Cincinnati Bengals team isn't incompetent. They're one of the most competent organizations in the league. They're making the right calls. They'll make Joe Burrow the highest paid quarterback. And I believe that eventually Jamar Chase, when he gets his extension, is going to be the highest paid wide receiver. Zach Taylor, oh, you can't win early. And then they just win at the end of the season and they get back to the AFC Championship. And all the things that the old Bengals fans are worried about, shed them. Shed them. It's going to be impossible for the national medias. Adam Schefter, all these guys are still going to have their opinion because in their entire professional work history, the Bengals have been one thing. They're that no longer. We can shed it easily. They're not going to be able to. But when it comes to the Jamar Chase thing, and I know you guys talked about this yesterday a great deal, what was your opinion on it? Because when I heard it, it was a big old duh for me. It was, yeah, he's going to practice. Yeah, he's going to play. Yeah, he's going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. And eventually when he signs that extension, even if you have a little doubt about that, when he signs that extension, because I firmly believe that it will be at some point in the future, he'll be a Bengal long term, it'll once again be a big old duh. What's your opinion about Jamar Chase coming back?
I totally agree with you, but it's just the timing and coming back without the contract that wasn't necessarily the duh for me. That was the shock, and that's what's eased a lot of my concerns. Because if he's going to come back without a contract, then obviously they're in a good spot with the front office. He's in a good spot with the team. He believes that he needs these reps to be ready for Week 1, and I think that's what he's doing. I think he's just getting ready for Week 1, and I'm glad he's back. And I think at some point there was a reason to be a little bit worried, and I was starting to get a little bit worried, not long term necessarily, but just that it would bleed in too long, that it would start to affect the regular season. And I've never been a guy about slow starts, but I feel like starting fast is a way that the Bengals can play some home postseason games and get that 1 seed. And I think that's certainly on the table this year. And Jamar coming back this last week makes that much more of a reality, I think.
So when you're talking about slow starts, when you're talking about getting ready for the season, and you played football way longer than I did, you've spent more time around successful football programs your entire life. Out of all the positions on the field, it feels like wide receivers near the bottom of the poll about needing to get ready.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, you saw Jamar sit out for, I think it was 16 months in 2020 for the entire college football season. He came back, and I think he was pretty good as a rookie. So, I don't know how much you need to get ready. But then, again, we saw last year with Burrow out and T in practice that lack of practice affected their connection in Week 1. So, right. I think there is a level where it is necessary, but for a guy like Jamar, when you have a quarterback like Joe in an offense that I think is creative enough that he's just going to be able to kind of get open as part of the play calls, I really don't think he needs much time, but I think the amount of time he gave himself is about what I think is necessary.
Elliot, you obviously talked about it all day yesterday, and I don't want you guys to rehash what you guys have been saying, but I got a big old duh when Jamar Chase came back. How did you feel about him coming back to practice?
Like Casey and Jacob were nervous a little bit, I think, at points during this Jamar Chase thing. I don't know how nervous they really were, but it was I'd like this to be done, and that's a fair take. Obviously, we want our guy back, but at the same time, I never had a doubt. I think the Bengals had all the leverage in the world. It's the wide receiver market, unfortunately, is not like the quarterback market. Teams need Joe Burrow. Teams need Justin Herbert. Teams need Trevor Lawrence, Tua. Any quarterback you can think of, you need a starting franchise-type quarterback, or else you literally have nothing. You have nothing. I can replace Jamar Chase. I don't want to replace Jamar Chase. I don't want to do that at all. I think the connection he has with Joe Burrow, again, I think it ranks probably number 1 in the NFL. But saying that, I never thought for a second Jamar Chase wasn't going to play this year because he still needs to earn his paycheck. He still needs to make money, prove that he's a top talent in the NFL, which he is, but he still has to be there. And he was always going to suit up. He was always going to play. The practice thing, again, I go back and forth on it because as much as, sure, I want him practicing, I don't mind that he had a 0% injury factor. I don't mind that at all. For being a player that I know that he is and who he is a top 5 wide receiver in the National Football League. So I was never shocked. I was never concerned one bit. They're going to get this contract done the same way they get every contract done. And they're going to wait until the very last second, and then everybody's going to stop freaking out about it. I was completely unfazed by this whole situation. The only situation I was kind of fazed by was T, because T could have sat out this year, and he said, nope, I'm playing right away. That was the only one that I had a little bit of concern about.
Well, we know your opinion on Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, well, I didn't think Trey was going to retire at the age of, how old is he, 31?
30. Yeah.
31, making a couple mil. Yeah, I didn't think you were going to retire, big boy. But yeah.
Big boy Trey Hendrickson.
He is a big boy. He could beat me up. But yeah, I had no worry whatsoever about this. and I'm glad to see Jamar back. He has a week and a half to throw with Joe, or to catch balls from Joe Burrow, which is more than enough to establish the connection they already have.
You know, it's one interesting thing that you said, and I'm not breaking new ground when I say this, is you said they are one of the more prolific quarterback receiving duos in the league. How many are in front of them? I'll give you one. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they're in front of them. There's no doubt about it. But with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs no longer being a thing, the most prolific, at least in the past, right? Like the last 4 or 5 years, has been Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Like if you ask fans, like give me a great quarterback wide receiving duo in the league right now, it would go, or pass catcher, it would go, all right, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Then the second one, at least in my opinion, maybe I'm a little too close to home, would be Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I can't think of another that pops right into my mind that has had years of success like those two.
The only one I could have thought of was Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. I thought their connection was elite.
I'm saying current.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So yeah, I just think that the emotional connection there. I think the actual quarterback to wide receiver talent is there. And again, I don't think they needed to practice that for 3 weeks during the preseason to establish that connection. I think that was already there.
Yeah. Casey, you're kind of the nervous Nelly. That's what I'll call you. You're the nervous Nelly when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals. It is funny because like I come in here and maybe I'm just a hopeless, optimistic Bengals fan that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be, because that's how I live life, to be honest with you. Everything's going to be fine until it isn't. And then when it isn't, then I'll deal with the problems at hand. But Casey's always thinking about, like, what does this mean? Oh, this isn't good. He very much lives and dies by whatever's happening in current Bengal world. You were nervous.
I mean, I was nervous, but I also said, too, like, I expected him to be back around the same time period Jesse Bates returned to the team, and that's exactly what happened. I thought it would have been with contract in hand. That was the thing that shocked me, and we already kind of discussed that. There's many ways you could look at it. I think Jacob's more optimistic about where they're at with contract situations, that he might receive one in the near future, and that's why he's back practicing. Me, on the other hand, I think that they're just not going to get a deal done this year, which that's not the end of the world. They can easily get one done next year, but I wanted it done this year just for the benefits of the team, being able to spread out those cap hits and things of that nature. But yeah, it was just a big duh this whole time. I mean, he was always going to come back. If he sat out the whole year, he was still going to have 2 years left on his deal to fulfill on this team regardless. I think the most telling thing, though, yesterday, there was a clip that came out from Jamar during the Super Bowl last season.
Yeah.
And it just kind of spelled it out plain and simple. I mean, he wants to be here, and he expects to be here, not just long-term, but for his entire career. That's basically the gist of the clip. I have it if you want to play it.
No, here's what we'll do. We'll go to break. When we come back, we'll show that clip of Jamar Chase saying he wants to be a Cincinnati Bengal for life. I think we knew that. That and more when we come back on Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. You're listening to 1410 Wing AM. Well, yo, 3 yos and a ho-ho and all that good stuff on Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. I'm telling you guys, I planned, so we made the joke, I think like 3 or 4 times ago that I hosted, filling in for Kenner, that I planned 5 segments, and we just see where the 6th one goes. We need to fill 6 segments. Today, we're living dangerously. I had 1 segment planned, and that was that. You just saw it. Now we're going. I'm just kidding. We got a lot more. But we teased it before the break about Jamar Chase saying it at the last Super Bowl out there in Las Vegas that he wanted to be a Cincinnati Bengal for life. Casey?
My future bright, man, in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm going to be there the rest of the majority of my career, if not, there forever. And, right now, this is the first time where I'm getting the opportunity to see the real business side of contracts, of players with contracts. So it's a toll, man, honestly, you know what I'm saying? And Jesse Bates was the first person that it hit me with, you know what I'm saying? Jesse Bates and Von Bell. And Von Bell was the first person that really sat there and gave me vet game on contracts, on football, on organization. So, Von Bell gave me a big leap in the game, and, I couldn't say nothing but thank you. But, you know, it's still to this day teaching me, and I'm still seeing it now. My future bright, man.
So you heard it right there. Listen, I've said this before about Jamar Chase. When all this kind of contract extension and stuff going, I've told the adage about him knocking on doors after Joe Burrow bought his house and all that stuff. No clue if that's a real story or not, but it just feeds into kind of this idea and this mythos. But Jamar Chase, that clip right there, and it's 9 months old. But that's just not like anything other than just confidence. That's just saying like, hey, I don't want to be anywhere else than in Cincinnati. And you know how refreshing that is to see an elite player, to see a star player in the biggest sport in this country say that I want to be in the smallest market for my entire career, the majority of my career. It's going into all the things that we talk about, and it's what I said last segment, that just shed the old fandom and just give in to what we have here. Because Jamar Chase is giving in. He understands that this team, this culture, all of this, the Joe Burrow, the winning, everything, the fans, we are so locked in and so excited about what we are building here, and they are too, that he wants to be here for his entire career. And don't let this contract negotiation kind of veer you off of anything other than he is going to be a long-term Cincinnati Bengal. And I do want to throw in this caveat because it's kind of something that I feel is percolating in the NFL that I want to get to. For years and years and years, we heard don't pay running backs money because you can get another one, you can draft another one, and you'll get similar production. I think what we've seen in the last 4 drafts is we've seen the best wide receivers that this league has ever seen. And at the same time, wide receivers are getting paid higher than they've ever been. So I don't want to be the doom and gloom guy here, but that's a recipe for a bubble. When there's a lot of talent coming in that you can easily replace with the star wide receivers, and then they're also taking up the biggest cap hits that they've ever taken, you're starting to see that maybe there is sort of a bubble being created. But here's what I'll say about that is be worried about guys like Michael Pittman and these like second tier, really, 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 really great wide receivers, but not the elite guy. When we talk about the elite wide receivers in the league, Jamar Chase is often the third or the second best wide receiver named. It's normally Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, and then you go Jamar Chase. CeeDee Lamb's up there, and he just got paid. So I'm not worried about, being handcuffed by a Jamar Chase contract because he is exceptional. And for what it's worth, the earlier you get it done, the better it helps your organization. We've seen this with the way that you can stretch out the contract where you can pay them in different years. And we're also seeing this in the fact that the earlier that you make him the highest paid wide receiver, the later on, 5 years down the line, that contract looks great as long as he's playing to the level that you expect him to. We're seeing this with quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, highest paid quarterback last year, highest paid guy in league history, and that's already been surpassed a number of times 1 year later. So the earlier you get it done, the better, but I'm also not going to be upset if it takes time, if it's not till the offseason, if it's not till next year. Whenever it gets done, I do think it's going to get done. So that's the end of that. Guys, the one thing that I've often been rightfully accused of, and I don't shy away from it when it comes to fandom and stuff like that, is I'm not that big of a college football fan. I haven't been. I think when you're a college football fan, you got to grow up around it. I think that you've got to have parents, you got to have your dad, got to have older brothers, you got to have something in your life to kind of bring you in. They've got to take you to the Horseshoe if you're an Ohio State fan. They got to take you to Notre Dame Stadium if you're a Notre Dame fan. Whatever it is, Nippert Stadium, whatever it is, we're going to do the Bearcats thing later. Whatever it is, you've kind of got to grow up in college football. And that wasn't me. That wasn't the way that I was growing up. I was a big baseball family, was a big Bengals fan, but we just didn't put a whole lot of stock into Ohio State. We didn't put a whole lot of stock into Notre Dame, to where if you did ask me who my fandom is, I would lean Notre Dame just because of my Catholic upbringing, and that's just kind of what it was. I didn't put a whole lot of stock into Michigan. I didn't put a whole lot of stock in going down south to one of the SEC schools. So it was always hard for me to get into college football because it also felt like, why would I sit down and watch Ole Miss play Missouri? Why would I sit down and watch Minnesota play Michigan State on a Saturday afternoon? If I wasn't throwing money on it, if I wasn't betting on the game, that doesn't pull me in whatsoever, because at the end of the day, in the BCS era, there were only 4 teams that mattered. Ultimately, only 2 teams that got to the national championship. In the college football playoff era, there's only 6 to 7 teams that mattered. Ultimately, only 4 teams that played for the college football playoff. So it was hard for me, as someone who didn't have a whole lot of stake, to get invested into college football. But I'll tell you right now that for the first time in my life, I am overly joyed, overly excited about the prospect of college football. Because for the first time in my life, there are teams that did not matter, and they matter now. They matter. I think about a team like, and stay with me here. I'm going to throw some weird names out there. Stay with me here. A team like Syracuse, who was top 25, I think 2 years ago. I think they got in the top 20 at one point. If you were a Syracuse football fan, you never once thought, hey, we've got an actual shot to compete for a national championship this year. No, that never came into your mind once. You were playing for other things. You're playing like, hey, maybe we can get in the conference championship game. Hey, maybe we can get in a New Year's Six game or whatever, and we can play in an important game. But it was never like, hey, we got an actual shot to be playing for very meaningful things. Now, you get in that top 20. If you become a ranked team, you can get kind of excited. And as someone who doesn't have stake in the game, I'm excited for all of the games. Oftentimes when people talk about the joy of college football, they bring up that Alabama-Tennessee game from a few years ago. Tennessee wins, they throw the goalpost into the river, whatever happened, and it was a true culmination of all the things that make college football beautiful. The pomp, the circumstance, right? One game that means it all. Whoever wins this game keeps their national championship hopes alive, yada, 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 and you go down the line. That's when college football is at its best. We're going to see more of that. We're going to see more meaningful games on a week-to-week basis. And how many times have you sat down on a Saturday looking at the slate for college football and go, man, there's no good games. That's no longer going to be a thing. There's always going to be a game that matters towards the college football playoff that now is 12 teams. Jacob, as someone who enjoyed the way that college football was, to where every game could end your season, to where everything was, everything was on the line, you didn't like the expansion of the college football playoff at first. Are you kind of getting to where you're like, it is going to be neat to see these teams that may have not been on the elite podium have a chance to play for a national championship, or did you prefer the old ways?
Am I going to enjoy it? Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. I think we're going to get more games. More playoff games is fun. More ranked games is fun. Adding Oregon, USC, UCLA to the Big Ten, and Texas, Oklahoma to the SEC, you're going to get a gauntlet of a conference schedule every year. The days of 15-0 undefeated champions, I think, are completely over. I'd be shocked if more than 1 or 2 teams goes undefeated this year. I think you're going to get losses, but at the end of the day, I prefer the old method, and I prefer the old method of 2 teams over 4 teams. I like college football being different than the NFL. I like that when you lose one game, your season's over. It's not that I don't think it's going to be cool to see a 10-2 Ole Miss or a 10-2 Penn State that hasn't beaten a good team they've played all year have a chance to win a playoff game. I think that's cool, and I think it's exciting for those fans to really care about the week in, week out of their sport, even once you lose to a team like Florida State. They lose to Georgia Tech. Though they didn't look great, there's still a lot of season left, and they can claw their way back into the playoff, and that certainly is interesting, but even though I'm going to enjoy it, I just don't think a 3-4 loss team should have a chance to win a championship. And I think that's where we differ. You're going to enjoy seeing those teams have the shot, and I just don't think they deserve it.
Yeah, I don't think it's I've been on Reed's side on this for, my entire life, 24 years now, 25. I'm 25 now.
Wow. Happy birthday. It's my anniversary. Did you know that?
Yeah. Hijack his anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Reed.
Thanks.
Casey's going to Miami today, I think.
That's right.
For you. I think that was.
Was that a funny text?
I
was trying not to be. Can I say the D word on the radio? No.
I don't know. I was
trying not to be. Can I say ball buster?
Yeah.
I was trying not to be a ball buster to Casey, but I thought that was a funny text. I was I was just being a jerk for a second. I'm sorry.
It was very, very funny. But anyway, no, I've been a fan of college. I've been a loose college football fan my entire life. I like football. I just like watching it. I never grew up in a household. My dad didn't play football. My grandparents didn't play football. They might have played football, but again, it was never my family just wasn't attached to football. We were more baseball and soccer. And never as much football. I still love watching it. It was always fun to me. But when you're a fan of UC, it's not the same as being a fan of Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, anyone in the SEC, anybody in the Big Ten. It's just it's a different culture.
It's almost like it's a worse coaching job.
We're not doing that. We're going to do that later on the show.
It's a different culture when you're a fan of a team that historically probably doesn't have a great chance to win a national championship. It's just a fact. College football is top heavy. Everybody knows that. And college football fans like Jacob like that. They like the best of the best playing each other in that championship game, no matter what. Doesn't matter how many wins, losses, yada, yada, yada. The best of the best will be playing and should be playing for that national title. No matter who did what, it just on paper, you can kind of know as the season goes on who that best team is. My argument against that is if you already know on paper who they are, why bother playing the season? Just crown them. Just crown them. So now this new era, this new format of college football, now with only 4 teams, the Power 4 conferences.
That's right.
Not the
right. No,
Power
there's
5
not-
We're not
conferences.
doing that. We're doing that later.
We're doing
not
that
a fifth
later.
conference.
We're doing that later. But it's a new era, and I like it. I think it's more fun. I think you're going to see teams that you've never seen before compete for a championship. I think that's going to bring fans to those particular stadiums. I think it's going to bring more eyes to the sport. I think it's better as a whole in general to see more playoff games. NFL, everybody likes when you expand it because you get more wild card games. Same thing with pretty much every league. NBA might have taken it a little too far. They got every team making the playoffs. That's fine. But I do like it. I think this is cool. I think this is beneficial for the sport. Do I think that anything really is going to change by this in terms of who's going to win a national championship? Not really. I think it's still going to be Ohio State. I think it's still going to be Georgia and Alabama. Maybe Dabo brings Clemson back to relevancy. Maybe. So I don't know. I think it's very good. And as somebody who has never grown up in a football house and was just a fan of UC, and when you're a fan of UC, we've had a couple of really, really great seasons. Championship caliber seasons, in my opinion. But outside of those once every 10-year seasons, you don't really have a ton to cheer for for a smaller team. You cheer for the pride, you cheer for your school, and that's all great. But in terms of cheering for a national championship, it's never been available to us until right now. I know, obviously, we made the playoff in 2021 with Luke Fickell, and that was phenomenal. But that's a 1 in a million chance. Now you're seeing it become a better chance, greater odds for these smaller schools to make a national championship, and I think that's great for the sport.
And maybe you guys are right. And if you ask me what idea I subscribe to, it probably is that at the end of the day, it's still going to be the elite teams that win the national. It's going to take quite some time for there to be a true upset for the national championship. That being said, they're simply making more games matter. And as a fan of any sport, what you should always ask for is for more games to matter. Cincinnati Reds fans, when you put a bar on your season, if you know that it's, hey, we're not true contenders or anything, what's often the bar that you set? You say, I just want to play meaningful baseball in August. And I think that's where a lot of college football fans are. Of these second-tier teams, not the elite, not the Ohio States, not the Georgias, not the Alabamas, not the Michigans, to where they say, hey, I don't necessarily want to keep national championship hopes alive. I just want to be playing in November for games that matter. And as someone who hasn't been that big, hasn't been that heavily invested into college football, I think that games that matter is the ultimate is going to make the sport just so much more enjoyable. It's going to make it truly better. For at least for the fans. Maybe not so for the Ohio State fans. Maybe not so for the Alabama fans. But for the Ole Miss fans, for the Michigan State fans, for the Oregon fans or the Utah fans or all these, the tier below the truly elite guys, this is better for the sport. This is better. All right, we teased it for long enough. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Jacob's big day on Twitter. Jacob's big day on the Bird app, on X.com, with the UC fans just pummeling him into the ground. But Jacob still won.
That's right.
Jacob still won because in his reality, he's never lost.
That's right. That's right. And that's all that matters.
He's never lost. We'll be right back. You're watching and listening to Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers on 1410 Wing AM. Welcome back to Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. I'm Rhett Mouse filling in for Justin Kinner. I gave Kinner, I was teasing him earlier about him making me host the show on my anniversary. I knew I was going to have to work today. In fact, I've got to go do something later on today. My wife works all day. We're celebrating it tomorrow. It is our anniversary today, but I'm just giving Kinner crap sometimes. The other thing that I saw people talking in the chat about this, at least some Hamiltonians, because we are, the studio's right here in Hamilton, is this weekend is Oktoberfest, actually on the road that Elliott takes home, going out to Ross. There's an Oktoberfest that happens Labor Day weekend every year.
Oh, nice.
They have this game. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this game. It's called the Rat Game. And what they do is you gamble on it, right? You can throw $1,
Love
$2.
it already.
And they have odds. They have these colors. It'll be like red, 7-1. Blue, 2-1. Brown, 14-1. And what they do is they have this big wheel. And they put a rat in the middle of the wheel.
A real rat?
A real rat.
Oh my
What?
They put a cage on top of the rat. They spin the wheel. Then they lift up the cage and ring a bell to scare it. And whichever hole it goes in, whoever bet money on that, they get a win.
What?
It's an incredible game.
I want to play.
It's an incredible game. So much so that my friend built one. He built the rat game and they get
PETA
rats.
can't be thrilled about that one.
No.
I'm just saying it's
Have we alerted PETA yet? Because I might be the first to alert him.
I don't think PETA's cracking down on the Hamilton Oktoberfest. It's actually an Oktoberfest put on by a mobile home community, but they do a great
Very
job.
nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a lot of fun. But the rat game is awesome. It is a lot of fun. But what else was awesome was yesterday on Twitter. Now I'll be honest, I had to host the coaches shows yesterday, the high school coaches shows, so I didn't get to fill in on a whole lot of this. So I guess what I'm asking is fill me in like I'm 5. Like I'm 5 years old.
Sure.
What happened on X? I know Elliot curated some of these tweets.
I'll let Elliot take it.
Well, so yesterday on the show, if you missed the show yesterday, I said yesterday twice in a matter of 5 words. That's okay.
3 times in a matter of 10 words.
Yes. So basically, Jacob had an opinion on the show, and again, I'm a UC fan. I love the Bearcats. I'm not a giant UC football fan for the reasons I stated earlier. It's just I've never gotten emotionally attached to UC football because I know deep down there was never really a big chance for me to watch them play in a national championship. And that's always been my dream. I watch the Bearcats. I watch every single Bearcat basketball game because I do think deep down that there's always a chance for my team to make a magical March Madness run. Hasn't happened yet, but I still think there's a legitimate shot at it. College football I've just never been emotionally attached to, and I should have fought back on this yesterday. Jacob went to Alabama. He knows more football than me. I straight up, he knows more football than me. I'm not going to pretend he doesn't. But yesterday on the show, he made a take that UC was a very great coaching job opportunity for anybody who was looking. And he made some points. One of those points was that UC, the stadium, was built underground. I think that was one of your points.
It's built into the ground.
Into the
middle of
ground.
stadium.
I think there was a couple other points in there, and basically UC fans got a hold of it, and they went after my guy here. So I tried my best to play along with it, but these were some very, very funny jokes. Casey, which ones are we going to start with here?
Let's just start from the top of all of them. Let's start with Tonk.
Tonk,
That
my guy Tonk.
Tonk.
My guy Tonk.
You want me to read them?
Yeah, if you don't
If you
mind.
will.
All right.
It's just, yeah.
Tonk responds, "This sheltered Alabama frat boy mindset is exactly what I would expect from a podcast in someone's basement that involves a lot of Bud Light." No free ads. Guy is very out of touch and clearly has no idea the status of college football outside of the SEC. P5 doesn't exist, Power 5, and the ACC is worse than the Big 12? Jacob's response was, Tonk.
With his profile picture.
Just a manicured mustache, a goatee. Let's break down this tweet. So let's go first. This sheltered. Would you say you're sheltered?
Sure. We'll give him shelter. We can give him shelter.
Would you say you're an Alabama frat boy?
I think that yes.
You are.
On just truth.
You are.
Yeah, you went to Alabama.
And I was in a fraternity.
And
He's
you
got
were,
the bumper sticker
I
on
do
his
have
car.
the sticker on my truck.
Yep, you have both an Alabama and your fraternity
That's
sticker
right.
on your car.
That's right.
So you know what? He's 2 for 2.
He's doing well. He's doing
2 for
well.
2.
He's doing well.
He then said a podcast in someone's basement.
This
Not
would be,
in someone's basement.
This would be a hell of a basement.
This should be a great basement.
This is a great area.
Great
not a
basement.
basement.
Not a
So-
basement.
So now he's 2 for 3.
That's right.
And then where you drink too much Bud
was
Light.
not drunk yesterday.
Okay, and you're not a Bud Light drinker.
I am not a Bud Light drinker.
No one knows your
No,
politics.
no, no.
Nobody knows your politics.
No one
no,
knows
no.
my politics either.
But my biggest thing was that he called him a frat boy. He looked like a frat boy, and then Tonk looked like that.
I mean, you can't look like Tonk and then call me a frat boy.
You're more of a frat boy than Jacob.
you can't have the manicured goatee with the big fluff of hair and your Twitter handle be named Tonk.
That's right.
Tonk. I gotta know the etymology
That's right.
of Tonk. Also, I saw a lot of people getting on you about this, and I know there's gonna be more tweets about Power 5.
Yeah, that's my bad. Left
Power
hand
5.
up.
That was your one big mistake.
It was a big mistake. It was a big mistake.
I don't think. Listen, here. What are words? They are.
Good. That's a great question.
No. Listen. They are codes. Words are codes transcribed to someone to go in your brain to understand what you're talking about. When he says Power 5, you know exactly what he's talking about. Because he lost on a technicality doesn't completely negate what he's saying. It's like I use this analogy a lot. It's like when you're at a sleepover and it's after midnight and someone's like, it's technically tomorrow. It's like, shut up. Yeah, you're right. But if you're getting on him about saying Power 5 instead of Power 4, that doesn't make your point more valid. It really doesn't, because you knew exactly what he was talking about. Next tweet.
Next tweet.
This is from Rick. I think
Rick.
This take is so bad, I deleted, muted, and unfollowed. Was just in the BCS Final Four 3 years ago.
So if you're going to get on me about Power 5, I'm going to get on you here. It was not the BCS final. The BCS went away in 2013. It was the college football playoff.
Tough.
And also, he said he
unfollowed-
deleted.
He deleted.
What did he delete?
What did he delete?
I don't know if he deleted anything.
Was he following you? Was he saying he followed you or Chatterbox?
I don't know. He was
Great
following
question.
somebody, but
I
now
gained
he's
a
no
lot
longer.
of followers yesterday.
Well, I'm sorry that you had your Twitter deleted by Ron.
No,
That
my
was
Twitter.
Ron. Yeah, he deleted your Twitter.
Yeah,
so
no,
shout out
it's
to
a real
Ron.
shame. It's a real shame.
Shout out to Ron. Next, we got the next one queued
next
up.
one. This is from Eric.
Eric.
This guy is talking sports and still using Power 5. It's Power 4, sir.
Yeah, see, I threw this one. I
Correct,
threw this
yeah.
one in there
Correct.
because, again, this was the biggest sticking point. It was nothing that you said. It was that they could come at you for the Power 5
And they
thing.
could, and they have every right to. And I'm sorry.
Big mistake on your
I
part.
want to
Big
to
mistake.
to the chat that's here today, to everyone that might be watching that was in the replies. I want to let you know. I know the Pac-12 is gone. I know there's 4 power conferences. So
And you got rings to prove it.
that's right. I hope that replies in here. I hope
I-
you gave me some positive ones.
Well, I didn't. So I didn't put that one in there. I should probably go
That's
back.
my
and-
favorite
but we'll
one.
We'll go to the next tweet. I'll find that one. That might be the cherry on top because that
That's
was a
my
good
favorite
response.
one.
Next tweet from Matt Chick. I'd be upset if I've ever heard of Chatterbox Sports before.
Buddy, I have bad news for you. You replied to our tweet.
Yeah.
So you've heard of Chatterbox.
He said Buddy. His name's or her name is maybe it's a chick named Matt Chick.
Can I not be buddies with girls?
Well,
Got locked in that box. Next one, Casey.
Yeah, next one.
I'm married.
Probably
It's my
the
anniversary.
The funniest one. Jacob
This was
Trolling.
great.
tweeted out, just reminiscing on my 2021 Cotton Bowl championship.
Didn't have
Hashtag
anything to
Roll
do with the
Tide.
thread. I don't know what everyone was getting up in arms.
Someone someone tweeted, for every 10 likes this gets, will make his Cotton Bowl hat taller. So there was lots of likes on that post. And it just progressively gets bigger. Could be bigger, could definitely be smaller. It's
Oh,
gaining
that's a big
volume.
hat.
That is a big hat.
Mass is questionable.
You look like Doug Dimmadome.
He's
Yo,
giving,
I really
Cardinals.
start looking like Doug Dimmadome in a second.
he's giving Marge Simpson a run for her money. It just means more.
How did it turn into a cowboy hat?
Wait, who gave this guy field access? Is this the Grand Tour of the Cotton Bowl trophy? With the Bearcats in the background, by the way.
They never get that close to the trophy.
He just can't stop flexing on the lowly Power 5 school. Oh, God, the hat has
hat
become
got
too
wider.
large.
The hat is eating the stadium.
Sports
That got
owner.
wider. Well,
It
it's
has
built
begun the
into
search
it's
for a
built
new
into the
host.
ground.
That's right.
Christ almighty, the insatiable hunger of the 2021 Cotton Bowl champions has swallowed all of southwestern Ohio. It craves for the biggest school in Ohio. Only a Power 2 program will satisfy it. These are the end times. The 2021 Cotton Bowl champs have no discretion. They consume at will. All that is left is the Mountain West and fragments of the other conferences. God help us all. The hat has ended all of humanity. Its growth is exponential. The universe will be consumed in a matter of moments. Why couldn't Cincy have won the Cotton Bowl? What could have prevented such a tragedy? Finally, all that remained was the Cotton Bowl hat. It has no end, no timelines, no souls to remember it. It was everything, and everything was it. It only wishes it could remember the sweet, sweet sound of Jacob Tissett poo-pooing Cincinnati. The CFP hat was lost in the void forever.
Oh, man.
That was a really good one.
I tried.
If you enjoyed this
really-
thread, donate to Cincy Reigns.
I tried
No
really,
free
really
ads.
hard to find that hat for today.
That
Really
you
hard.
you really
Would
should
you
have.
have
Could
worn it
not-
like this?
Yeah, I would have found a way to
Like
Make
this?
it bigger.
make it bigger.
It was at the last. I think I sent 2 more,
You
right?
sent 2 more. This one, this is a good one. Nicholas Reed Mouse.
This is my
With
favorite
takes
one.
like this, how can you take this company seriously?
That was early too. That was early on.
Yeah, I don't know who that. I don't know who that guy. I don't know who that guy is.
No,
but
but-
Yeah, I don't know.
Spoiler-
what it is.
Spoiler alert! I didn't even watch the video. I just know people. I just know people were up in arms. I was like, I'll just jump in and I'll hop on this.
Love that. Thanks for the support.
I do
guys.
disagree with your opinion, but
Do you?
yeah. Well,
Aw.
that makes me wrong because
true.
Because your opinion is right.
That's true.
We got another one.
one last one.
Final one. Excuse me. Chad Brendel. Some of you might know him.
All right. Well, you can't just skip over my because my reply was good here.
I thought it. Brad,
want me to go through
Brad
the whole-
Chendall's in the chat today.
Brad Chendall is in the chat today.
Brad Chendall, do you have any thoughts?
Now you're just trying to use my platform to grow your engagement. Did you forget to bring up the 16 straight UC wins prior to the series, or are you just a useless troll in a Bama polo? I believe the conversation was about you brought up that UC canceled Miami.
Just scroll down.
Scroll down just a little bit.
Oh, scroll down some? Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
That first one.
Chad, if I remember correctly, you quoted my clip with a take. Are you using my account for engagement? First 16 years were fun, but obviously last year scared the Cats enough to cancel the series. We'll see how it goes in Oxford this year. I think if I go to maybe the
I don't think you can do it.
I can't go
Well,
for that.
here's the thing about that one too.
Here.
I thought that was a very, very funny clapback by Jacob, and I knew Chad was going to get a hold of this, and it was going to be over for my guy. Once
You
UC
warned
fans.
me minutes after it was posted that my follower account being made fun of was in jeopardy.
I knew it was gonna happen, and what I was gonna
here-
do. A little
here's-
inside baseball. We were going to buy 21,000 followers
We
for Jacob
were.
on
We
Twitter
looked at it.
just for the bit.
This
And
is-
I think it would have been a very, very funny
If
bit.
it was less than
he's-
$300, we would have done it.
But he said when he said you have 500 followers, just going over him like, check again, buddy.
Exactly what we were planning.
But yeah, but
This
Chad
is
and
what
the
Chad said to his tweet. I think I'll be okay without your 500 followers, Chief. Miami canceled the series to add more games to their schedule. He didn't.
Did he
spell-
chief you?
I got
didn't-
chiefed and kidded in one tweet.
Kidded?
Yeah,
it was the
and-
ultimate sign of disrespect. That's
That's why I respected
Ch-
him in the reply.
Chad's my guy. He's gone up against trolls for a long time now. You're just another troll on the notch. So
That's right.
You didn't make waves there, but it was very. I knew once the Bearcat Journal guys got it, I knew it was you were done. You were cooked. It was
Yeah, I
Troll-
spent all night last night trying to find 10 jobs better than UC, and I couldn't do it. Or
I
worse
do-
than UC.
Come on, come on.
I do think it's worth like going through some of Jacob's replies to some of these people. One of my favorite ones, if I can quickly find it, is this one right
Yeah,
now.
thank
that
you.
was a good
Thank
one.
you.
He
Do
responded.
I get credit for that one? Do I get a little bit of credit for that one?
Yeah, you do. You helped me think that one up. Elliot helped me think that one.
Trace Fowler chimes in. He says UC is currently ranked 4th in odds to make the postseason this year in Ohio.
Oh.
It's tough.
What major stake and withhold 4 power programs?
That's tough.
Yeah, I'm a UC fan. That's what I am.
Like it. I liked when was it Chad that said that just a useless troll in a Bama polo? Was that the quote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a college band that plays at fraternities. I'm just a troll in a Bama polo. Like,
I think
coming up
you'd be
next,
able to
that
sell
Tin
that
Roof
one.
is troll in a Bama polo.
That's true.
You should start one.
But it was fun. Everybody who made that fun, good for everybody. I think everybody was like, there's a couple of the burners that I think were just mean, but other than that,
I genuinely had a great time.
Ed, our good friend Ed,
Our great friend Ed.
You see-
Shout out
you
our
see
dear
Ed-
friend Twitter Randy
Did you-
for shouting me out as well.
Yeah,
was
Randy
very,
had a couple-
very, very kind of him.
Randy had a couple interesting tweets there. Ed tweeted at you this morning.
Did he? I didn't see.
It's because he didn't at you. He just tweeted it. He said,
Just tweet it into the void.
He said, "Good morning to everybody except for Jacob."
Oh, okay.
That's a great tweet.
That's it.
Oh my goodness, that's an incredible.
That's
tweet.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
So that was it. But it was a fun day. Good job, Jacob. You
our dear friend the Bear, Sean Spurlock, just outed me in the chat. I
Are-
am on Towson plus 31.5 this weekend. So we'll see how that goes. But I will be betting against the Bearcat spread every single game this year. And if I can talk myself into it, I'll be betting against them on the money line.
It's gonna be my job to defend the Bearcats. So
That's
I
right.
guess.
And I really only didn't like the UC football program, but this makes basketball season fun too. 'Cause
Oh, come on.
You better hope that squad's as good as you say it is.
Leave my basketball
Oh,
program
you better
alone.
hope they're good.
Leave my basketball program
You're
alone.
a fake UC basketball fan.
No, I'm not.
That's
I'm
that's
not.
what I've always
I am a fake UC football fan because I'm not. I've never been a huge UC football guy, but I am a real UC basketball fan.
You went to the Cotton Bowl.
I did go to the Cotton Bowl.
How was it?
unfortunately.
Who won?
Jerry World won because it was a great venue for all.
Ooh, hopefully I get to go. Ooh.
Kelsey was there. Kelsey, I think Mahomes might have been there
They
too.
were.
I know Kelsey was
were.
there.
Nice.
So that was cool. It was a cool game.
The whole stadium chanted "Who Dat" when they showed him on the jumbotron.
Yes, that's right.
It's very cool.
Nice. All right, guys, we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we're gonna have Elliot's headlines here. You're listening to Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers on 1410 Wing AM. We're having fun here on Off the Bench. I'm Ray Mouse filling in for Justin Kinner. Thank you so much for tuning in today, for watching, for listening. If you are a radio listener, get in the chat. Come search us on YouTube. We're live every day, 10 to 12 on YouTube. Just search Chatterbox Sports Off the Bench, and you'll find us right there. Jacob Tissett, Elliot Rearing, and Casey McAllister in the room with me today. And Elliot.
Oh,
Sports happened yesterday. That means that there are headlines. And if there's 3 things that Elliot loves.
Elliot loves 3 things: Joey Votto, David Bell, and leading off the bench with top headlines.
Joey Votto and David Bell. That's right. Headlines: The Reds host the Athletics, looking to break their 3-game home losing streak. The Reds have the 8th-ranked team ERA in the National League coming into this series. The Athletics are 56-75. They are 23-20 on the road. No, that's not right. 23-40 on the road. I messed that up. Honest to God, I'm very, very sorry for that. I messed that up tremendously. Whoever can find what the Athletics are on the road, that's what they are. So thank you very much. In the Reds' last 10 games, the Reds are 3-7 with a 6.59 ERA and have been outscored by 26 runs. Yikes. Now, this was interesting. And before Jacob wrecked the Twitter, there was a little Twitter speculation regarding this because there was a leak, I guess, on CBSSports.com, and there was one guy who tweeted it. I think his were automated tweets, maybe sent from CBS Sports, but they tweeted the projected starter for the Cincinnati Reds tomorrow, Wednesday night against the Athletics, is Rhett Lowder.
Oh.
Now, I don't have too many thoughts on this other than I think it's good if we saw him this year. Based on all the injuries that have happened, I'd rather see Rhett Lowder get a couple innings of work than see any groupings of Tony Santillan or whatever other Buck Farm or whatever other opener they would use. I'd rather have Rhett Lowder come in, give us something to watch as this season unfortunately trends downwards. So I'm happy for it if it happened. If it were to be true, if it's not true, then that just sucks, and that's unfortunate. But I do have a hard time believing he would do this right now. Only one start in AAA. It was a very good start, mind you, for the Bats, but it's very strange to me that he would just be called up immediately.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm in. I'm
This
not
red
out.
season, we lost Hunter Green, and we've lost the fun version of Nick Lodolo, so I don't really know what else there is to look forward
Andrew
to.
Abbott's not here
on
anymore.
the bump, so I would love Rhett Lowder to come
Graham
up.
Ashcraft's not here
We
anymore.
already talked about how we don't want to see Hunter Green the rest of this year, so I would love to see Rhett Lowder come up, get some reps in red, and maybe get some people down to Great American every now and then. Every fifth day, you get to go watch Rhett Lowder. That'd be fun.
Hand up for the last 2 minutes since you brought up this Rhett Lowder thing. I've tried to figure out some joke, some troll that I can just do my little, like when you used to say under the bridge he
Under
comes.
the bridge he
And I don't do it a whole lot anymore, and I'm off my game. I couldn't think of anything funny, so this is me just owning it. I'm off my game. I can't troll today. I'll let Jacob do all the trolling from here on out.
Dear Cubs fans, but yeah, it would be pretty cool to see. It would be pretty cool to see. I think my bet is you will 100% see him this season. I don't think you'll see him tomorrow night.
I would also bet against seeing him tomorrow.
But that's just my opinion. That's just one little boy's opinion. Around the league, the Mariners beat the Rays 5-1. Randy Arozerena hits a 3-run shot against his former team. A little revenge. The Rockies and the Marlins are playing in the Toilet Bowl. Colorado won Game 1. Good for them. It was at home, so they do have a distinct advantage. They're a good home team.
Let's see how good they are at home. Elliot, how good do you think the Rockies are at home? How many games over 500 do you think the Rockies are at home since they're so good?
Well, they're not, but it's 5 games under 500.
Is that? Are you sure?
No.
No, they're 3 games under 500.
Better than I thought.
Phenomenal.
Better. What are they on the road?
Elliot, if you're
What are they on the road? Say it.
Elliot, your opinion.
19-50.
19-50 on the road.
Listen.
That take, I was killed for that take. They're 19-50 on the road.
Do you think the
I
Reds
was killed for that take?
Do you
Yeah, I
think
was.
the Reds?
Yes, I was.
Do you think the Reds would be better than 63-68 if they played all of those games in Colorado?
It'd be close.
They would be over 500.
It would be close.
They'd be over
You
500.
weren't
It would be
killed
close.
for that take. You weren't killed for saying the Rockies are
better
better
at
at home than they are on the road. You weren't killed for that take at all. You were killed for saying that you wouldn't want the Reds to play 162 games against the Rockies at Coors Field.
Correct.
You can't stand by that.
Because
You'd rather than play their schedule than play 162 games against the second worst team and third worst team in the league.
No.
The Rockies are 49-83.
That wasn't my option. The option wasn't would you rather play a regular schedule or the Rockies at home. It was just would you rather play the Rockies at home? Would you have? Would you take the Reds? Yeah.
You said
That
we
means
asked
the
you,
other
would you
option
want to
is
play
no, it does not.
162 games at Coors Field? You said no. They're too good there.
I can only be right so many times. They're going to finish the season above 500 at home.
I'm
That's a
waiting
good
for
home.
those.
That's
I'm
a
waiting
good home
for
team.
you
Bet
to
on
start
that?
being right.
Yes.
$100. I'll
Subtract
take
it.
I'll take the second worst team in baseball to finish under 500 at home.
Subtract it by 99 and you got yourself a deal. Continuing on. The Tigers, 4-game sweep. The White Sox. White Sox stink. They are now 31 and 101. They win yesterday 6-3. Spencer Torkelson hit a home run. I didn't know he was back.
Me neither.
Good for him.
The torque.
Padres. That might have got him over 500 or maybe got the
Back
Tigers
to 500.
to 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to 500.
Padres win 7-4 over the Cardinals. Jackson Merrill drives in 3 more runs in that game. The Braves scored 10 runs and beat Minnesota. Atlanta is now 10-5 in their last 15. Turns out you couldn't bank on Atlanta to lose a lot of games down the stretch. I'm shocked. Blue Jays beat the Red Sox, and the story of the game is Danny Jansen, who is the first major leaguer to play for both teams in one game. He started it as the Toronto catcher on June 26th, when he was then traded after the game was postponed to the Red Sox the next day. He was behind the plate when the game resumed 65 days later.
He caught his own at bat.
Correct.
right.
That was his at bat that the game ended on, and
Yep.
then he was the catcher. So yeah,
pretty
it's
cool.
a talented guy to catch your own at bats.
Yeah.
That's one of the more obscure things that'll probably ever happen in baseball, right? I mean, that will be just an obscure
There was some
record.
Twitter account, I forget the name or I'd give him credit, but they were on it like at the trade deadline. When he got
Really?
traded, they were like, this game is being played in a month or whatever. If he's catching, it'll be his at bat. Pretty cool.
That's very cool. The Cubs destroyed the Pirates. Looks like a team can beat the Pirates. They beat them 18-8.
It was so the Cubs are back to 500. I've got to admit something here.
Good for you.
I threw some coin on the game.
This is very funny.
I threw so the Cubs scored 18 runs, had 21 hits. I made one bet on that game, and it was Michael Busch to have 2 total bases. If you look at the Cubs box score, they had, I just counted it up, 10 different batters get 2 total bases. Michael Busch was the only one to not get 2 total bases. He went 1 for 7. He went 1 for 7
with 1 for 2 in the 9th inning.
Yeah, so it was funny. So I'm listening to the game. I'm watching my dogs after I get off work. After I get done, it's like 9:30, 9:45. I just get home, walking my dogs around. I got listening to the game with AirPods in. I might be losing hearing in my right ear. And Michael Busch is up. I'm like, all right, just get a double. Everything's going all right. Just get a double. We'll win this bet. He singles. And I'm like, man, I lost. And I turn it off. 10 minutes later, he's up again in the 9th. Flies out. And I'm like, golly, thought he had a chance. But 1 for 7. Good 1 for 7. Good for Michael Busch.
Listen, it's all about the effort, and they tried their best. And Michael Busch tried their best, his best. Phillies beat the Astros 3-2 in extras. Royals cruised past the Guardians 9-4. Salvador Perez hit 2 home runs in Game 2. They also beat the Guardians in Game 1. My Royals' future to win that division might come true.
I need the Royals to beat somebody
They
good.
can still beat the Twins. They still play the Twins.
I need the Royals to beat somebody good. I don't know if you've looked at their second half schedule.
Yeah.
They have lost every series against a team over 500.
Really?
Wow.
And they have swept every team that is under 5. I'm like it's
Well,
been,
except for this. They're going to beat the Guardians, but
all right.
that counts. NFL news, the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb agree to a $136 million deal. That broke yesterday. That's why you wanted to get Jamar Chase's deal done a little bit earlier. Maybe you could have gotten a discount. I don't know if you call that deal a discount, but it was certainly less than $40 million a year. Jacob, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that it came in this low after a holdout. I thought if CD was going to sign a deal below Justin Jefferson's number, he would have done so earlier in the offseason. Going this deep into training camp without practicing or playing or even being there like Jamar's been there,
Yeah.
I thought that number was going to be much higher. If anyone's upset about this, it's Jamar Chase. I mean, Jamar probably was hoping that CD was going to get 37 or 38, and then that 40 number looks a little bit more easier to swallow. So I was shocked by it, but definitely another situation where it's kind of just a duh move. I mean, the Cowboys were going to get it done. CD was going to play for the Cowboys this year.
I've got a question for Jacob and Breed and Casey, whoever has the answer to this. How much, when you factor in these contracts, like when a player's looking to sign and they're looking at that guaranteed number, how much of it is like, okay, we'll give you this amount guaranteed, and if you don't like that, we can just add more on to the signing bonus? Because the signing bonus was what, 38
It was
million?
38.
$38 million for CeeDee Lamb. Could Jamar Chase's contract be worked like that? Could you just give him $40 million as a signing bonus, so you didn't have to give him $40 a year for that, and it'll work? It'll balance itself out.
An issue with that for the Bengals is that Mike Brown is not a very cash-rich owner.
Yeah.
And a lot of that signing bonus, all of that signing bonus, has to go into escrow right away when you sign the contract. So we might not have $45 million in cash to give Jamar right now. So though that would be an option to alleviate cap hits down the line, it's not necessarily something that the Bengals have operated with in the past, and that's just because of the cash availability of our ownership.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just didn't understand that, because it feels like if you were Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, how much do you want? 40 a year? Well, I won't give you 40 a year, but I'll just give you $40 million right off the bat when you put your name on paper. I just feel like that all balances itself out. But
the signing bonus for Jefferson was $37 million.
37.
Yeah.
Do you think Jamar will be 40 mil?
Probably.
I assume it'll be the same as the AAV. So if he gets a $40 million a year contract, I bet it'll be 40. If it's less than that, I think it'll be less than that.
Interesting. All right, well, that's it. And final note, newsworthy note is Packers get Willis from the Titans to back up Jordan Love. So,
So they traded a third-round pick for Malik Willis, which in an off-season that we saw Justin Fields get traded for a 6th rounder. We've seen Mac Jones get traded for a 6th rounder. We've seen Trey Lance get traded for a 7th rounder. Shout out to Trey, I think 7th rounder.
poor Trey Lance, man.
He had a lot of fantasy points.
Come on.
No.
But
Come on.
It seems
You don't feel bad for Trey Lance?
Not one bit.
It seems insane that Malik Willis would get a 3rd-round pick. It truly does. But similar to, at some point, you just got to give credit where it's due. Like, I mean, the way that the Packers have operated around quarterbacks, they can do they got they're going to have to mess up like 4 straight times for me to like go like, all right, the Packers don't know what they're doing anymore. So like it seems crazy to give up a 3rd rounder for Malik Willis in the same offseason that we've seen Justin Fields get traded for a 6th, Mac Jones get traded. All these things happen. But that being said, how can you doubt the Packers? How can you doubt the Packers?
We have one more headline that broke this morning right before the show. NFL owners will vote today on a proposal that will allow teams to sell up to 10% of their team to a list of permitted private equity firms. And then about an hour later, Schefter announced that that vote is expected to be approved. So by the end of the day, we'll see possibly some private trading of NFL teams, and that should be another way for owners with less cash-rich availability to get some more money flowing into their organization. So for a team like the Bengals, I think it could help immensely.
Explain this to me like I'm 5. So they're just getting basically a private investor, and they will just back the team.
10% of the team can be sold to a list of firms that have already been approved by the NFL. And so you can't just go out and sell to whoever. But
so Zuck can't just buy the team.
Unless he's on the list.
Unless he's on the list.
So yesterday, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I get across this graphic. And it's a picture of every owner in the NFL and how much they're currently worth. Now, the graphic was 6 across and 5 down. Six columns, 5 rows. Quick math, what's 6 times 5?
30.
How many teams are in the NFL?
32.
So there was 2 teams missing from this graphic, one of which is a team without an owner, the Green Bay Packers. They are publicly traded, and they're owned by the...
Trace owns them, I think.
Yeah. The other, if you had to guess who didn't make the graphic, was Mike Brown, because it was a list of billionaire owners, and Mike Brown didn't make the cut. So it was not a good look, because I was just looking at it. I was like, oh, how much is Mike Brown worth? Well, he's not at the top. He's not in the. He's not on the graphic. He's not there.
Maybe him and the Castellinis can pull together their money. Make a super franchise.
I also
make an average franchise.
I see Roger Straz going how Packers ownership is a sham.
It is.
But it's openly a sham.
Well, here's the thing: is it would not be legal in this day and age. They did it so long ago that it was before we had rules like this implemented on things. But it is literally a GoFundMe. I remember a couple of years ago they sold more shares of the Packers, and like on the caveat of the shares, it was like, you will not get any money. You will not get dividends from buying shares of the Green Bay Packers, and you get no say in how the company is ran. So it's just like, oh, so you're just taking $150 from me?
539,000 people were like, you know what? Have $150.
Well, it's like, because teams would do this. Like, if this was allowed, like if they weren't grandfathered in, teams would. It's the same thing you guys talked about the other day about like, would you do a GoFundMe for the Reds to sign Shohei Ohtani? Yeah, I'd give money for the Cubs to go sign Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat. But you can't do that. But that's what the Packers have done, and that's how they've operated. So it's just interesting to see.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, other news was Trey Hill. Trey Hill got cut. Yeah.
Trey Hill got cut. Dejan Anthony and Mema Jogometa made the team.
Yeah.
So some
good.
Bengals Nuggets trickling in. We'll have all that coming at you at 3:30 live for Chatterbox Bengals. Everything will be over by 4. That's the cut deadline for the NFL. So
Who's hosting Chatterbox Bengals?
it's me and Craig today.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was told I was gonna get to host Chatterbox Bengals, then like just randomly on a Thursday, I just see Jacob and Craig going live. Jacob and Craig going live.
What a crazy
Not
bit.
even remotely close.
What a crazy bit
Not
this
even
is.
remotely close.
I just can't believe how I got kicked off the show. How Kinner's ruining my anniversary by making me host this show, and then all
Craig's coming for my job too. So he's coming for my job. He's coming for your job.
Well, I'm just swept under the rug. It's just crazy what happens.
Reed's just an afterthought, I guess.
It's just 5 years at this company. I get treated like this. We'll be right back on Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. You're listening to 1410 Wing AM.
All right. You know what time it is. It's time to pay the bills around here. Pawnee water, made right here in Hamilton, Ohio, uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing that other brands use. The result is a healthy alkaline water, and some say the best tasting water in the world. Visit Pawnee Water at PAHHNI water.com so you can buy this great tasting water. Just the smooth water, man. Got to try it out. Check them out.
I don't like when my water has rocks in it.
What?
He said it's smooth water.
What?
You said that like 3 weeks ago.
Who?
You. He said, what's your favorite thing about Bonnie water? You said there's no rocks in it.
Oh, I did say that. I forgot I said that.
It's limestone. It
It's
just
my
filtrates.
favorite quote you've maybe ever had.
There's no rocks in it.
The rocks filtrate the water. The water doesn't filtrate the rocks.
That's right. That's right.
Anyways,
Continue on, please.
Yeah, the Bengals report,
better if you
the
remember
future
it.
Bengals report, proudly sponsored by Encore Technologies. At Encore Technologies, they deliver cutting-edge IT solutions for a data-driven world. From mobile computing and desktop support to advanced data center solutions, they help businesses enhance efficiency and
PRODUCTIVIT. Why?
that's right, Jimbos. Visit encore.tech,
Productivity.
where your path to innovation begins.
Can you do the P to the A to the H to the A? What's it? How's it go?
P to the A to the HHNI. Yes, that's Pawnee. P to the A to the HHNI. Yes, that's Pawnee. P to the hit it, KC.
Moving on, game time. Been using it all year. They have great deals, guys. Check them out. They have super deals going on all the time for Bengals games, especially right now. You can just check them out. A lot of the primetime games, they have lots of great deals for those. A lot of the like special like orange out days, the white out game, things like that. Great deals going on right now. Tickets are like $100, so check them out there. Of course, they got deals going on for Reds games as well. There's low as like $10, so check that out as well. You get to see exactly where you're sitting at, and pricing's all up front. It's just 2 simple clicks, and you get your tickets. It's just a great app. It's one of the best looking apps, and it's just smooth altogether. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Game time.
What time is it?
Game
Time.
time.
What time is it?
Game time. Woo!
That's right. It's game time, guys. Download it today. Other housekeeping items, hit the like button, share the show with a friend. Really helps us grow. Bring in more viewers like you. Thank you. And
I love that bit.
members, it's Tuesday, so we're not doing box lunch today.
We got a big box lunch tomorrow, though.
Big.
Big
Maybe the biggest.
tomorrow. It's for the
Fantasy draft.
Fantasy draft, which we did the order of it yesterday. I believe I'm 11th. Reed is 13th. You guys, I don't remember what you're slotted at. You want
Fifth.
Fifth? That's a good spot. Elliot, do you remember where you're at?
12th? 12th. Because
Yeah,
I'm
you're
Oh,
right
yeah,
before
that's
me.
right.
Right before
We're-
Reed.
Yeah,
You guys
we're
are 3 in a
12th,
row.
13th. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll keep you guys updated on that. And the members that are in that, be ready for the draft tomorrow. I think we might be doing some sort of fantasy sleeper stuff either today or tomorrow. So stay tuned for that.
12:15.
And tomorrow, after we draft, we're going to go film our video with Caleb 513.
That's
That'll be fun.
right.
very, very excited about that. Very, very excited to learn how to be a ball hawk. And he's going to teach me the ropes tomorrow.
Make sure
He's a smaller fella. I'm worried about, me, KCU out there running over those kids. They might really get hurt.
They
if we do
might.
what he does.
They might. And all the old people too. It's just going to be. It's going to
Yeah.
be rough, if I'm going to be honest. But I'm going to try to be. I'm going to try to do it like he does.
It's going to be a Cable Dodger tryout. Outfielders.
That's
next,
right.
Next year for the Cable Dodgers.
Make sure you bring your gloves tomorrow, by the way, too.
Oh, I don't have a glove, so
I can give you a glove. I've got
I'm
plenty.
going to bring a catcher's mitt.
I mean, that's fine.
A mitt is
I think it'd be
objectively
funny.
hilarious.
I think it'd be funny.
I'll just catch it with my own mitts.
A mitt
Saints.
is actually probably worse than using your bare hand. Just so bulky right there. But yeah, good job, Casey, reading the ads.
Yeah. And Jacob, do you have anything else you want to promote real quick?
Yeah, we'll do it again. Chatterbox Bengals today at
That's
3:30.
Yeah.
We'll be live for Cut Day. So join us. It should be a good time. Public stream, live for everyone.
How do you feel? How does it make you feel that Casey is pushing you to promote your own stream? Like how did
I promoted it 5 seconds ago, so I thought we were good.
I just
No,
like,
I just wanted.
No,
you
I
to do it.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Everyone's supportive around here except for you.
I'm not supportive.
Do we need to pull up your tweet again?
What?
Who takes this company seriously with takes like this?
Oh, well, I do that all the time. I'm just a troll, I guess. I don't tweet a whole lot anymore, but when I do, it's about the Chrysler 300s I see driving around here. By the way, I didn't tell you guys that story. You know how hilarious it is to see a Chrysler 300, a Diet Right version of a Bentley pulling two Sea-Doos down Hamilton? It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was incredible. I saw that, and immediately I got made fun of for driving a show truck and not a work truck, because I promise you my work truck can pull those. I'm not sure the brakes can take it, but it certainly can do that. You know, you brought up the Pawnee rap I do, and
Yeah, it's really good.
Everett's chat was
Everett's done it
incredible.
Every time. Every time I've ever done that, he's like, just a reminder, anyone can get married when making fun of me. The other one that I've been workshopping in my mind is when I do get on the show is doing a Hot to Go remix.
Yeah.
With Kenner's Take.
Okay.
Kenner's Takes, just going like G-O-T-T-O-G-O. Kenner's Takes have got to go. So that was the other one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching the stream today. We've been having a lot of fun. I like when sometimes we can't do it every day, but when we don't have a whole lot to talk about, just goof it off every once in a while. It's a lot of fun. But we are going to talk about the Bengals spreads when we come back. We got to go back to Radio Land. Welcome back to Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Reed Mouse filling in for Justin Kenner. Thank you so much for listening today. If you're listening in out in Dayton, if you're listening in podcast form, or if you're watching it via the YouTube chat, thank you so much. We love every single one of you guys for being here. Thanks for all the nice things you guys are saying in the chat, except for Craig, who's trying to goad me into to hosting. What's that about?
I don't know. He's playing the mind game with you, I think.
He undercut me first off, taking the hosting job. Now he's trying to goad me into doing it. When, like, it's my anniversary, man. What are you doing here?
He did say we can all get on it today. Every Chatterbox employee can get on it, and we can all say 12 words each.
Well, here's what we'll do. We'll put ourselves in boxes like what's the 70s sitcom? Brady Bunch. We'll do the Brady Bunch. We'll just like look down and like smile and up at it. Look at me over here. It's like the Chatterbox bunch. Yeah, Marshall, all that good stuff. But when thinking about hosting this show, one thing that I like to talk, because I love talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, and I thought this was interesting because obviously they have all the spreads out for the entire week, so they're going to fluctuate based on how teams play, but they do put a line out there if you think that you've got an edge or anything like that, and the spreads have come out for the Cincinnati Bengals 17 games. In the 17 games, the Bengals, to my surprise, were favored in 14 of them, and we're going to go through each game and start talking about the spreads, how we think if they're going to cover. I think it's just a fun little way to be like, I think they'll cover this game. And it's all speculation. We don't know how they're going to play in Week 10. I don't know how they're going to play next week in Week 1 against the Patriots. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I will say this before we get into this, and I think it's an interesting take in an era. If you know anything about me, I am not someone who gives into conspiracies a whole lot. And you see a lot of conspiracies go around the NFL about, they're rigging it so that Patrick Mahomes wins again. Because as we all know, if the one thing the NFL wants to do is make a small market like Kansas City be at the top of their league and have the Chicago Bears and the New York Jets and the New York Giants be at the bottom of it for years and years and years. And the Dallas Cowboys to not make an NFC championship, the biggest brand in North American sports, not make an NFC championship in 20, 30 years, whatever it's been. I'll say this, though. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't think they rig games. I do think that they mess with the schedule a little bit. I do think that I think, and this is me being a Bengals fan, being a biased Bengals fan, I think that they know they have a pretty marketable star in Joe Burrow. I think they have they saw how dedicated we are as a fan base, Cincinnati Bengals. If you look at our regular season tickets, they're more expensive. Like I've mentioned this a few times. I might be going to Jerry World on December 9th for that Monday Night Football game. That tickets to that game, Monday Night Football, Dallas Cowboys, versus Cincinnati Bengals. Those tickets are cheaper than nosebleeds, very top of Paycor Stadium for the Bengals versus the Patriots. So the NFL kind of sees that they have a marketable star, and I think that they are kind of force-feeding us an easier schedule. Obviously, you get the fourth place schedule and everything like that, but if you look at it, 4 easy games in the first 6 weeks, and on top of that, the 2 hardest games that the Bengals are going to play is when it's most likely that Joe Burrow will be healthy. Last year, they put the Chiefs game at the end of the year, trying to make that a very important game, and Joe Burrow gets hurt, and the game doesn't mean a whole lot. I think they're trying to learn from their mistakes and say, hey, we had a lot of quarterback injuries. Let's front load some of these schedules with big marquee games so that we get the quarterback matchups that we want. We're going to see the Bengals play the Chiefs in week 2. We're going to see them play the Ravens early on in the year as well. I just think it's interesting, and I think that the Bengals got a pretty good draw when it came to the schedule. That's just my opinion. I think that they kind of fudge it sometimes. So.
Jacob said that they can start 0-7 and be fine.
You add a game every time you bring it up.
Yeah, next week it'll be 0-10. It's gonna be. It's legit one of the easier schedules I've ever seen. So if the Bengals don't take advantage of the schedule this year, I don't think they'll ever take advantage of a schedule ever.
They'll never finish 4th place again. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Ideally, obviously.
Ideally.
But yeah, like it's an easy. I get what you're saying with ordering the games and stuff to preserve health and preserve those marquee matchups. But the schedule is set for you for the most part. I mean, the teams you play are forced based on where you play.
No, the teams you play,
finish.
but I think that they can order it in a certain way that is advantageous to the teams. Like
for sure.
Like I've seen other people have this take that like if you look at like the Jets, I think the Jets have a tough game week 1 and then it's pretty easy. I think Caleb Williams has a pretty easy schedule to begin things to where like these are good things. Like if Aaron Rodgers, Caleb Williams start off pretty good, that's good for the NFL. If Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals start off pretty good, that's good for the NFL. And I think that they want to see Lamar Jackson versus Joe Burrow when they're healthy, and it's more likely that they're healthy early in the year. They want to see Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow when they're healthy. They're more likely to be healthy early in the year when they don't have a full season underway. But we tease that we are going to do the spreads of each game. Jacob, you put these in, so you're running the graphics. Week 1, Patriots, this line, I think when it first opened, was just beyond a touchdown. I think it was 7.5, and based off what we've seen from the Patriots it looks like Drake May will probably be the starter. And I think because Jacoby Brissett was there, I think Joe Milton was there at one point. They're like, is he going to start?
Yep.
But 9.5 week 1. The Bengals the last 2 years have had big spreads in week 1. Well, I guess not last year against the Browns, but they certainly did 2 years ago against the Steelers, and they lost both those games. I don't think they cover 9.5 week 1.
I don't either. I don't think they cover 9.5 week 1.
I think they win pretty easily.
I think they win without us ever breaking a sweat, but I think they win like 24-17 or something like that. I also don't know that this is going to stay at 9.5. We've seen it go from 7.5 to 9.5. It might get to 10. I mean, who knows? People don't believe in the Patriots, and obviously this 9.5 was with Jacoby Brissett starting, so maybe money will flow in on Drake May and it goes the other way. I don't think we necessarily know what's going to happen here without their starting quarterback being announced yet. But, yeah, right now at 9.5, I think the Patriots are going to cover. But, again, I think the Bengals will win incredibly easily.
I think the Bengals are going to cover this game. I think the Patriots are terrible. And I don't trust any quarterback situation they've got going on in New England. Game 1 especially. No matter who it is, I don't think they're good enough. And to be quite honest, I think that offense is bad. So if the Bengals are able to put up 24 points in this game, they'll win this game by 10. Patriots will not score 11 points in this game.
Our defense has impressed me in the preseason.
Yep.
And from what you can take out of the preseason, I mean, and normally people just take the positives. You just throw the negatives away. You're like, I'm not worried about that. But I really like what I saw over there. It's just to fit your narrative. But I do like what I've been seeing from the Bengals defense. Casey, you think we cover 9.5?
I'm kind of with Elliot here. I think if they do win, they're gonna win by a considerable amount. I'm just looking at what they did 2 years ago, and it was 22-18. They dominated the first half of that game and looked really, really good, and then they just kind of let them get back into it. They started getting a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow, and most of the guys that are there that allowed them to come back are no longer there. So I think that there's a good chance that the Bengals just dominate that game.
All right, week 2. I think they're going to win easily week 1, but week 2 it's obviously tougher. You're going to go to Burrowhead, and they are 3-point dogs, not 3-point favorites.
Chiefs minus 3.5.
Oh, so why'd you do versus Patriots minus 9.5?
The 9.5. Look. The 9.5 is before the after the Bengals sign. Do you know how?
Well, here's the thing about Jacob is that he's always right. So
I
congratulations.
feel like that's a.
Well, no, you were right. You were right. You were right there. I'm just saying, it's incredible. It's uncanny how right you always are. Kansas City Chiefs are 3.5-point favorite, and you know what? The Bengals, despite not covering in Week 1, they're gonna win. They're gonna win in Burrowhead. So I got them outright, and yeah, they're gonna cover.
They're at least gonna cover. So I'm gonna take the Bengals plus 3.5 for sure. No question about it.
This might be a Harrison Butker game winner.
That's right.
I think they will.
He'll get a nice home cooked meal beforehand. He'll be ready to go.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And he will kick the game-winning field goal. Bengals lose this game by 3 points. It'll be a close game, but I do think no matter what, the Bengals will cover that spread. There's a chance the Bengals win, but I'm going to predict a loss to be. If I'm going to be honest, if I don't count like this is a loss, I don't have the Bengals losing many games.
That's what I go through the schedule.
I have to find.
2. Yeah.
Well, it's NFL. You're gonna lose games. Right?
I know.
But
like when you're looking at the schedule on paper right now, I don't see many losses. If I'm gonna be honest, so I'm gonna predict this to be a loss, but I think they can win it.
Trent Dilfer once said, "You can't lose games in the NFL and still win." So hopefully the Bengals don't lose games and still win. Casey, 3.5.
Yeah, I'm smashing Bengals here. I mean, every game with the Chiefs has been close when Joe Burrow and Mahomes go toe-to-toe, and I don't think it'll be any different here. So,
man, we are cowards. We are just absolute cowards. We look at the first game, we're like Patriots, knowing that if we say, oh, they're going to dominate there, and they don't, that it looks really bad. And we know that if we say they're going to cover against the Chiefs, we're like, oh, and we lost to the Chiefs. The 2-time reigning Super Bowl champs. It's just like, you got nothing to lose there. So, yeah, they'll cover that one. We are absolute cowards. We go to week 3, back to the easy part of this.
We can actually make a take here, I think.
7. So, Jaden Daniels is going to be interesting. Jaden Daniels, no doubt about it's going to be interesting. I don't have the Bengals covering 9.5. I think that number's too high, and typically when you get to double-digit spreads and it's right before that, it's hard to cover. 7, on the other hand, I like the Bengals covering 7 against the Commanders. I think they're going to be a much improved team, but I really like the Bengals minus 7 against the Commies.
I'm going to go the other way. I don't think the Bengals are going to cover this. I think the Commanders are going to be really good. The way the Bengals do cover this is if the Commanders aren't good yet. It's very nice to play them in week 3 with a rookie quarterback, with a new head coach, with a lot of changes to that offense. I mean, Austin Eckler's going to be their running back. It's taking the ball out of Ryan Robinson's hands. We'll see what happens with that offense, and maybe they're not up to full speed yet in week 3, and the Bengals can jump on that. But I think the Commanders are going to be pushing for a playoff spot in the NFC. I'm going to take them to cover this 7, but again, I think the Bengals win.
I think the Bengals cover this spread. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. But saying that, I believe in the Bengals offense when Joe Burrow's healthy, when Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are healthy. And I think they're going to win this game by at least a touchdown. I think they're going to start the season stronger than they've started a season in a long, long time. So, yeah, I think they win this game probably by a touchdown or 2. Probably 2 touchdowns.
Casey Root?
I won't say 2 touchdowns, but I'm kind of in the same camp. I think they're going to start off really hot this year. I also think that last year's defense – turnover machines, basically. They were able to get the ball back to the offense multiple times throughout the year, and going up against a rookie quarterback will help you in that endeavor. Week 3 in the NFL season for a rookie, still probably getting adjusted to the NFL lifestyle. I like my chances of covering the spread. I like their chances of winning. So
it is nice that we're going to see 2 rookie quarterbacks in the first 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty important for a team that has a decent amount of turnover. And still thought very highly, and Joe Burrow coming back from injury. I think that's pretty important. All right, week 4.
Week 4.
We got 17 weeks.
Yeah, we do.
So they go to Carolina, who was the worst team in the NFL, and they can't get worse. They can't be worse than they were last year. And
I think
I think they can.
And the roster doesn't look very good. I have the Bengals covering 6.5. I think they'll win this game pretty handily. I do think, like I said, I don't think the Panthers can be worse than they were last year, but I still have them covering 6.5 on the road.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bengals are going to cover this game with ease. Panthers don't have really much that excites me at all, but I do think Bryce is going to have a good year.
I think I might do alternate line minus 17.5 because if I'm going to be honest with you, if they lose this game, you can cancel the season. The Panthers have nothing. I watched more Panthers games than I care to admit last season because Adam Thielen was my wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2.
For like 11 weeks.
He was very, very good. He was very exciting last year, and I'd tune in. I'd watch Bryce Young try to move the ball down the field. He's terrible. He's truly terrible, and I don't.
I'm not giving up on Bryce Young yet.
I don't. Well, I'm
You
not.
watched Bryce Young before,
Wait.
haven't you?
Whoa. I'm not faulting all Bryce Young. I'm just
We're not
saying
doing that. We're doing that later.
He was the Cotton Bowl quarterback.
he's been.
We're doing that later.
We're gonna do that later.
Okay, we'll do it later.
He was terrible last year, and I'm not saying it's all his fault, but that offense was so bad he couldn't complete anything. Nobody was open. Nobody could move the ball. Their running backs, I think, averaged like 1.5 yards per 3 carries. It was legitimately that was the worst team I've ever seen ever. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Bengals minus 400.
Casey, remember
I consider benching all of our starters and treat that like a preseason game. I'd give Logan Woodside a legitimate shot.
So, Casey,
Not even
remember
Brown.
2 years ago?
No, third string.
Casey, remember 2 years ago when the Bengals got massacred on Halloween against the Cleveland Browns, and then they played the Panthers the next week, and you were convinced that they were going to lose? And
I
Joe
said it.
Mixon, I think Joe
Joe Mixon
Mixon's
5
still
touchdowns.
scoring touchdowns.
Hold on. I don't know if I said they were going to lose. I just said it wasn't going to be an easy game. It ended up being an easy game.
I think actually an actual take that you had that week was you said that the Panthers have a better pass rush than the Browns.
I said that they have more guys on the line. It wasn't just Myles Garrett. It was Brian Burns. It was a load of different guys. I can't remember them off the top of my head. Yeah, and they ended up winning that game by like 20-something plus points, and that team has only gotten worse since then. I feel like we've gotten better. So I'm kind of with Elliott, plus or minus 400 points because this should be a preseason game for them.
Are the Bengals better today than they were at the end of last season?
Yes.
Week 5.
Wait. Let's go to break and then we'll continue.
All right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to go through very quickly the rest of the spreads back into the year. They'll change a lot from now until those spreads come, but it's fun to go through this. Bengals favored in 14 of 17 games. We're right back here on Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers on 1410 Wing AM.
Look at his brain work. Oh my God.
And we are back on Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy
Real
Farmers.
good stuff.
It's just top shelf.
We're just doing bits today, baby.
It would have been funnier if you would have put a helmet on.
I don't think my big head, my ego, can fit in any of those helmets. So we'll keep it going.
Cotton Bowl hat
We're
sure
at yeah. Can you imagine a Cotton Bowl helmet?
We'll talk about that later.
We'll get to it later.
Sean Connor says it's the boring start to the season that you requested.
I do want a boring start to the season. It's almost like I have to make takes. Week 6. Week 6. The end of the.
Joke's on you. We're on week 5.
Still, week 5.
So week 5, Ravens, Bengals favored at home against the Ravens. I think they're going to cover this. I think they win. You have to win home divisional games to have a chance this year. I think they're going to win home divisional games.
They do not win this game. I think when Lamar versus Joe, which we truly haven't seen a whole lot. They've been every single game has been very, very close. But the Ravens, for one reason or another, when it's those two guys playing, they've taken the cake. So I'm going to give Lamar the edge at Paycor Stadium. I still think that we're going to start the season off really, really well. But I do think the Ravens are going to take this one. So I don't have them covering.
I'm gonna take the Ravens to cover this as well. I do think, because if you look at the game that Joe Burrow was hurt last year, the Bengals looked great in that game. I don't know what quarter was it? The second quarter where he got injured and he threw that touchdown to I don't know who. I don't remember all the details there. But the offense, the Cincinnati offense looked great in that game. I just think the Ravens are so good, and if I'm gonna be honest, I think they do lose both games to the Ravens this season. I think it starts with this one. I think it's close. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Ravens as a team are still a little bit better than the Bengals.
I do. All this being said, I just said that the Bengals don't cover this game. I think the Ravens might take a serious step back.
I'm with Reed.
I think they might. And I could see them going two ways. I can see them continue on what they did last year, and they still be a great team. I think Lamar Jackson's great. I think the coach is great. But man, I think that defense took a big hit because we got Geno Stone. Casey.
I think I'm gonna go with this being I think this is going to be a win. I think the Bengals will cover at home against the Ravens. Looking at the Ravens' schedule leading up to this, Chiefs, Raiders is easy, but they play the Cowboys, play the Bills. Those are going to be tough matchups. Going into Cincinnati, just playing a little bit of a tough stretch there. So I'll give them the edge, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals lose this game with a healthy, fresh team to start the season with Derrick Henry and Lamar, the way this defense is at the moment.
Derrick Henry, you guys ready to crucify me in 10 weeks? Derrick Henry doesn't scare me at all. Doesn't scare me whatsoever. All right, week 6. 4 in New York. This is a primetime game, Sunday night, right?
It sure is.
Yep, it's going to be in the Meadowlands. I think Danny Dimes stinks. I think that the Giants stink. I don't know where they're going as an organization, and I know where the Bengals are going. They're going up, 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 up. So I'm taking the Bengals minus 4.
I am as well.
This is the first one that I actually think might be a little bit of a trappy-wappy. I think there's a chance, because I think the Bengals win this game by 500. And the difference between this one and the Panthers is I actually think that the Giants might have, in New York, might actually pull away with this. I don't know how. I don't know why I think this. It's prime time against the Giants. I don't think the Giants have a ton to work with. But they've got a decent group of wide receivers. Who's their running back now?
Devin Singletary.
Oh my God, it's Singletary.
Dominates the Bengals.
I don't think the Giants are good, but the Bengals are due to lose one of these bad games this season. And I agree with Jacob. It's going to be one of the two between the Commanders and the Giants. I think they lose to the Giants in New York.
I think the Giants finish below the Panthers this year. Overall.
Really?
I'm not going to expand on this. I'm just going to say that I think they cover because Giants are bad. So moving on.
Yep, Giants, they do have a better version of Justin Fields at quarterback. Number -1 in Cleveland. Up in Cleveland. The Browns have had the Bengals number. The Bengals will have their number this year. I think everything is trending right for the Bengals, and I just don't. Man, the Browns are in a weird spot, aren't they? They just I don't think they like their quarterback at all. I don't think they want him to. I don't think they don't want Deshaun to be their quarterback anymore. But I'll take the Bengals -1. I was surprised that the Bengals were actually favored in this game, if I'm being completely honest. But I think they'll win this up in Cleveland.
My life's so much easier when Reed's hosting because I just agree with him.
Yep.
So this makes everything a lot better. So yeah, I agree. I think Bengals are going to beat the Browns this year. We're going to turn the page on that whole being dominated by the Browns story and finally, be better than the team that we're better than. So.
I think as long as Deshaun Watson's their quarterback and he's playing against the Bengals, we have a chance to win the game. Because I think Deshaun Watson is legitimately terrible.
I mean, they have a quarterback better than Lamar.
He's terrible.
Yeah, just don't turn your back to him.
They have Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, they do have Huntley. And they got famous Jameis. Any one of those selections, honestly, I'll take them all. Because I think their quarterback room is that bad. And this would be, I imagine, they would have Nick Chubb at this point. But
maybe.
I think they'll have Nick Chubb at this point. But either way, I'm going to take the Bengals to win this game. I'm going to take them to win the next game. They're going to sweep the Browns this year.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. The Browns, they're the worst team in the NFL. They stink. Yeah, moving on.
We're racking up the wins, boys.
I'm so excited for the stink list to come back. Also, the stink list is coming back. Power ranking. I don't know if Kenner wants to do that or not, but I like those segments. I think you guys should do them.
We're doing it.
We'll do them.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think those are fun. Those are
we'll do them for the other thing.
Of fun. Let's fire through. Week 8. -3 versus Eagles. They don't cover this. They'll be home. I think that the Eagles. I said Nick Sirianni should have been fired. I think that people are so out. It's kind of like a reputation thing, right? Like they go so far down, everyone's out on them after starting 11-1 that they're like, this team's going to be terrible this year. I know obviously they lost a Hall of Fame lineman, and everyone's wondering what that's going to be like. But I think that just in the weeks of, you're going through an NFL season, that's a really tough team. That's a really powerful team. And I think the Eagles are going to win.
Yeah, I do not. I'm very, very low on the Eagles this year. I have them winning less than 10 games. I think the Bengals are going to win. I think they're going to win with relative ease when the Eagles come to Cincinnati.
I know everybody's written off the Eagles, but that's why I don't want to write them off right now. -3 against the Eagles. I think the Bengals win this game. I'm going to say they don't cover it, though. I think it's a close game. Down by 2 heading into the final minute, and Evan McPherson hits a 75-yarder to win the game. That's my prediction. I don't think
change your opinion if I told you they're wearing white uniforms, because they always cover the whiteout game.
Yeah, all right. I'll take Bengals -3. Never mind.
That's what I thought.
So I'm going to steal Elliot's take that he was about to say. I think this is going to be this is what I have penciled in as our shootout game of the year, where it's just going to be back and forth, back and forth,
Yeah.
back and forth. I think people are really down on the Eagles, but their offense, they have great weapons right now. And considering how our main weakness looks like it's going to be the run game, they have Saquon, and they have Jalen Hurts, who's capable of running the ball, and we've struggled stopping Lamar and things of this nature. I think that it is going to lead to us struggling against them offensively, and our high-powered offense, I think, is enough to overcome the Eagles' defense. So I think it's going to be back and forth, but I don't think the Bengals will cover. I think this is the one where it's like a 33-31 type victory where they just barely eke out a win in Cincinnati.
Love it. Week 9. Cover 7.
They win this game by, how much did I say they beat the Panthers by?
400.
They win this by 407. This will not be close. This will be a slaughter.
Devontae Adams like 140 yards though.
Maybe. Who's their quarterback? I mean,
I got
no
nothing on this Raiders.
No disrespect. They've got Max Crosby, and that's good for them.
And
But
Christian Wilkins. That D-line.
I think they finished last in that division.
I think they finished
I
last.
think the Broncos will finish better than them.
I think they
I don't
finished
disagree.
last as well. I think I have nothing nice to say about the Raiders. They lost their primary offensive weapon last year, so good luck to them.
I think this is a trap game. So
That one's at home though, right?
yeah.
Yep.
I think after eking out a close win against the Eagles, I think this is their trap game.
That's a good game to circle as the trap, because next week we go to Baltimore, and I know you guys
right.
don't like the
You
graphics.
guys think
but the
ahead.
Ravens are favored, so
I
think
didn't
we're
like
gonna.
the graphics.
I don't think we're gonna cover this one. I think the Ravens will beat us in Baltimore.
Case?
Ooh, being in Baltimore, I had us not covering against the Ravens. This one, to me, it feels like this would be the marquee game to really put a stamp on the series between Lamar and Burrow. And I think Burrow can get it done because I just don't trust Lamar. So I'm going to say that they cover and they win.
Elliot?
I think the Ravens are going to win the game and cover. I think the Ravens sweep us, we sweep the Browns, then we also sweep the Steelers.
That would work for me.
Yeah, I've watched The Wire, and it's tough. It's tough in there in Baltimore. So I'm saying they lost. They lose.
Week 11.
Week 11. 2 at the Chargers. Ooh. SoFi Stadium. Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, the rivalry that never was, or at least not yet. Justin Herbert versus Joe Burrow. You know what? Give me -2 versus the Chargers. Give me that. Give me that on the road.
This is my least favorite spread of the entire schedule.
I think it's mine.
I
too,
like the
Jacob,
Chargers.
because I think there's something about it where everybody and their brother is going to bet on the Bengals in this game at this
100%.
number, and then the Chargers win. Now, saying that, I think the Bengals win and cover. I do. I think they're a better team than the Chargers. But if Jim Harbaugh gets our playbook, then who knows what's going to happen?
Well, that's right.
So if he gets us and he knows all of our plays and he steals everything, he's got Stallions on our sideline with the super spy glasses. Maybe
documentary
they
came
win.
out today.
Did it?
It's been phenomenal so far.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I gotta
they're
check
in
it
a
out.
bad spot.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I feel like this could also be one of those trap games too. Is this going to be the first time going back to SoFi?
How many trap games can you have?
Well,
At some point, if the glue and the traps are out, the mice just aren't going to bite. They just don't want that cheese anymore.
I only have 2 trap games in this whole schedule.
I think you're maxed out.
Yeah, that's all I got. Those
All right,
2.
all
but
right.
I'm asking you, is this the first time that they've been back to SoFi since the Super Bowl, or is that incorrect?
I think that's right.
Rams was here.
Yeah. I think
Why
that's
don't we
right.
play in
Yeah,
London?
that's-
I feel like it's been a long time since we played in London. Next spread.
Next spread. Week 12.
Week 13. We're off week 12.
Okay, so bye. So I wasn't dumb. I just didn't know where the bye was.
No.
-5 versus the Steelers. Yeah, their quarterbacks are pretty bad, aren't they? At least their backup is. -5 versus the Steelers. Give me the Bengals at home.
Yeah, I agree. Russ stinks, and if Russ is in there, I'm taking Bengals -5. If not as confident with it. So I'm taking Bengals -5 because Russ is the current starter.
I don't think Russell's a bad quarterback for what it's worth. I think the
He's
Bengals.
not a bad quarterback. Well, he hasn't been a bad quarterback.
I think the Bengals would want to play Justin Fields. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think they win this game pretty easily. They win this game by 3 touchdowns. It won't be competitive.
The Bengals' margin of victory on Elliott's schedule is like 900 points.
Well, we're the run differential champs.
That's right.
That's right. This is the 3rd game out of that gauntlet of them just playing 4 AFC North opponents back to back to back to back. This is a clear and easy cover for me. Bengals win at home. Steelers are going to struggle, especially towards the end of their season.
All right. 14.
Well,
Cowboys.
before we go to 14, I think we should end the show and then finish it off for the YouTube side.
Oh, so you want to tease?
Yeah, a little teasy weezy.
For those currently listening on the air,
On the radio, on the
radio,
waves.
if you are a Chatterbox Sports
Inside of their
fan,
car.
Inside the radio.
Inside the car.
if you are a Chatterbox Sports fan, this show is wrapping up at 3. In just 30 minutes, you can watch what, Jacob?
That's right. You can watch Chatterbox Bengals. Go on the old browser, open up Google, type in YouTube, then go in the search engine within YouTube, type in Chatterbox Sports.
Chatterbox
and we'll
Sports.
be right there at 3:30 for all your NFL cut day needs.
And Jacob will be doing an hour and a half of Bearcats predictions as well.
I can. Spoiler alert. 0-12.
You clown.
Towson +31.
This has been Off the Bench. Thank you so much for Justin for ruining my end. I'm just kidding. Thank you to everyone who watched today, who listened today. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun yapping it up with all of you guys. I'll see you guys around. I'm sure Kenner will need some time off here in the relative future, and I'll get a host and be a guest spot again. I have so much fun doing this. I'll have better segments next time. I only had one plan for today. But this has been Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers, Houston 1410 Wing AM. We are back. We're having a lot of fun today. I'm having a blast. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. We got.
Don't have a choice. You pay me to do it.
That's right. Thank you for paying the salary.
I don't pay anything. I don't do any of the finances, but I do have to work later today. So that's what I do. I do the grunt work. I do read work. But it's been a lot of fun. Jacob, we're going to go through these spreads continuing on, but
We
good luck
sure
on the
are.
show that we've teased. You want to tease it again?
Sure, I'll tease it again. At some point, it's not a tease anymore because we're just talking about it every segment.
Yeah,
but
every chance we get.
3:30 p today. We got Chatterbox Bengals.
Is that
NFL
Eastern?
Cut Day
Is that
special.
Eastern Standard Time or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Eastern Standard Time. That'll be 2:30 Central, if you're in the Central Time, or
Okay.
a different time of day if you're in a different time zone.
That's
so
right.
stay tuned. It's about 4 hours from now, give or take. 3 hours and 50 minutes from now, no matter where you are. So tune in, NFL Cut Day special with me and my dear friend Craig Sandlin.
That's right.
You know, one thing that makes me anxious is just looking at when the sun goes down, because I like bright. I like
When the
summer,
sun
when the sun doesn't go
goes
down
down.
at 9 p.
We'll be moving when the sun goes down. We'll be
Feeling
feeling
all
all
right
right when the sun sinks down over the water. Everything is hotter when the sun goes down.
Who sings that?
Huh?
Who sings that?
Uncle, right?
No, Megan Maroney.
Is that Uncle Cracker?
I think it's Uncle Cracker.
It's Uncle
It's
Cracker.
Uncle Cracker.
And Kenny Chesney. It's both of them.
Okay.
I think it's listed for Kenny. I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
Okay. Kenneth.
Everett with ridiculous slander in the chat. F1 Trillion is a phenomenal album.
F1 Trillion rocks. Who's slandering F1 Trillion? Everett, why would you do that? Why would you say that?
That's above my thing. But I was saying that, so the sun goes down. I just checked. The sunset today is 8:15. As someone who loves light and brightness and all this stuff, I hate the winter. Not because it's cold. I can deal with the cold. It's just the fact that the sun goes down at 5. And I just looked up that we got till November 3rd. November 3rd's when we fall back an hour and the sun goes down at like 6. So enjoy the sun as long as you guys can. All right, let's get back to the spreads here in the final 10, 15 minutes. We'll go to week 14. Hopefully I'm at this game. This was one that is pretty much a pick'em. It's one of the only 3 games that we are underdogs in. The Dallas Cowboys are a popular pick to take a major step back. I don't know if I fully buy into that. I don't know if I'm fully biting into that take, but you know what? For just in case if I am there, just in case if I fall. By the way, these tickets are like $120.
Dang.
Like I said, the Patriots Bengals games are $200.
Wow.
But
Game time. Nice.
yeah, on game time. -1. Give me the Bengals covering this one. Give me their money line.
I have been saying that we're going to lose this game the entire offseason. I've been picking the Cowboys, but if you're going to be in attendance, if boots are going to be on the ground, I'm going to take the Bengals. So incredibly,
I'm worth 3.
contingent on that.
I'm worth
easily,
3.
Yeah, easily.
I'm
I was
worth
going to give you 3.5, but yeah, no, I'll take the Bengals if Reed's there. Otherwise, I'm going to take the
I
Cowboys.
was at the Titans game last year. If I wasn't there, we would have lost by 50.
yeah.
Ellie?
I'm going to take the Cowboys. I watched him play against, who is that terrible quarterback?
Cooper Rush.
Yeah. I watched that game, and that game made me sick. So I'll take the Cowboys with a competent roster. It's a Jerry world. That's all there is.
We don't play well there.
Yeah, we don't play well there, and they were undefeated at home last year, so that makes it tough. I'm gonna just take the Cowboys. Got to start getting them some losses here.
Oh, no. We're not. I didn't say they were going to win every game they were going to cover. You have no idea what my record prediction is.
I'm saying I'm giving them losses, but yeah.
It's interesting. Who's the last Cincinnati football team to play at Jerry World? We'll talk about it later on the show.
That's right.
Week 15.
Week 15.
-4 in Tennessee. I think you guys were talking about this yesterday. Is this something that we should put money on already?
I want to bet on this right now.
I mean, I love this spread.
I want to bet on it
love
right
this
now.
spread.
Yeah, I feel the exact opposite about this as I did about the Chargers spread. Both of those spreads feel like spreads we could easily cover without sweating at all. But this one, especially after how last year went, I think we're going to go down to Tennessee and just whoop them up and down the field.
I think Tennessee stinks. I think their quarterback situation stinks. I think Will Levis is really bad. I trust nobody in that offense. Good luck to them. They've got the washed-up running back of Tony Pollard.
They traded A.J. Brown for Malik Willis and Treylon Burks, though, so congratulations to them.
Yeah, it's tough. I think the Bengals have fared pretty well against the Titans as of lately. I know what happened last year, but I think that was with an injured quarterback. So I'll take the Bengals to cover and win this game by 32.
I'm with you. Let's move on.
Let's do it. Week 16.
Cooper Rush has a 21-5 record.
There's no way he started 26 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way he started 26 games.
Now I got to look it up.
All right, Cleveland Browns -3 at home. As we all know, the Bengals just always whip up on the Cleveland Browns. That's been the story about Joe Burrow throughout his career, is how good he is against Cleveland. For that reason, I'm taking the Bengals -3.5.
Yeah, I'm going to stick along that same kind of mindset here. I think we continue the domination we've had of the Browns.
No,
Elliot, if you want to,
he's 5-1.
that's more like it.
What was Sean Connor feeding me there? That's terrible.
Oh no, you got Connored.
What was Sean Connor giving me? All right, yeah, the Bengals. I said they're going to sweep the Browns. They're sweeping the Browns. They're winning this game. They're covering the spread. They win this game by 7.
At home, I love my chances, and it's a primetime game, so covering.
Week 17.
Second favorite spread of the year.
I'm taking the Broncos.
And that's why it's my second favorite spread.
Okay.
I'm also taking the Broncos. I think 8 is way
-8.
too high.
+8, yep.
I think the Broncos are going to be a pretty good team, and who knows what we're playing for in Week 17. I know there's obviously 18 weeks in the season, but if you already have the division locked up and maybe the 1 seed's out of reach, maybe you're pulling guys at halftime or something like that, I think the Broncos will be playing for a lot in the NFC that not a lot of wins are going to get you a wild card spot. I expect the Broncos to be surprising for a lot of people and kind of be in that mix. So I'm going to take Broncos +8 here.
I bet the real spread is going to move roughly to like -12.5, and I would take the Broncos to cover that. As of this current spread, I'm going to take the Bengals to win this game by 10 points. But if that gets above 10, I'm taking the Broncos.
Fair.
I think that the Broncos have just played the Bengals like the last couple seasons really close.
When was the last time we played the
I was
Broncos?
going to say.
2022. It was like 10-13.
13-10.
13-10. Sorry. But
Elliot's on
yeah,
your
I mean,
case
it
about that.
was
He
a
always
close
has it.
game. So maybe it was 2021, but it was here recently. They've played him in the Joe Burrow era.
It was 2021.
Yeah. I like the team. I'm kind of with Jacob. I think they're kind of a surprise sleeper team. And I think Bo Nix, he might really be something.
He might really be something. Are you
might.
buying into Bo?
He might be something. I don't know. But there's just a lot of hype
He's
around
certainly
him.
going to be something.
He's certainly going to be something. There's just a lot of hype around him. I don't know if it's just because the team offensively has just enough pieces or if there's just a lot of chatter that people don't really know about him. Personally, I'm going to find out more here in the coming weeks. NFL season starts. But as of right now, with all the hype surrounding him, eight just seems like a lot. It's just if it was just 6.5, I think I would take it. But 8, nah.
Yeah, the 4 rookie quarterbacks Sean Payton has drafted are combined 0-1, so he has a great track record of drafting quarterbacks.
Ooh.
Are you a Sean Payton truther?
The biggest. Oh, the biggest. I'm a
I-
huge Drew Brees guy, and I think he carried him.
I think it's interesting whenever and I'm just lounging now, guys. But
Legs are up.
I think it's interesting that Sean Payton has the same amount of losing seasons as Marvin Lewis.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good stat.
Like they not only had the same amount of losing seasons, but they had the same amount of like 500 seasons. Like there was a while where the Saints just went like 9-7, 8-8 every year, and like it was the exact same time that the Bengals were doing that. Now to be fair, like when the Saints were really good, they were much better than the Bengals. But I think there's a lot of similarities in Marvin Lewis's and Sean Payton's record, and that's not like an opinion.
Except for that ring. It's amazing what a championship can do in sports discourse.
No doubt about it. You win that one. I mean, can you imagine what we'd be saying about Matt Stafford?
Yeah.
Like we'd still be just like, he's not. Like he literally cemented as himself as a Hall of Famer just by winning that one game.
Yeah.
One football game is all. And are we gonna do Week 18? Because we don't even know. Throw it up.
We
there.
have it. We have it.
Throw it up there. I don't know.
I'm taking the Steelers +1 because I think the Bengals are the 1 seed in the AFC.
I'm going to take the Steelers plus whatever it is when I get a real spread on that game. I don't think it'll finish at -1. I bet it'll probably be like 4.5 or something. Either way, the game's not going to matter. But I'll take Jake Browning, Jake the Snake, to win this game. Cover the spread.
Bonk.
This will be also a disaster for the Steelers, though. That'll be the last game of their gauntlet, back half of the schedule. They'll be out of gas.
Oh, they'll be dead.
So they won't be playing for anything either. They'll just be playing for, I guess, Mike Tomlin. Maybe he has a chance at a winning record. Maybe.
Can I admit that I think that it's silly that we do that?
That
we make fun of Mike Tomlin about the 500.
Mike
That's
Tomlin.
incredible.
I like Mike Tomlin, but I do think that it is like you can say it and it's incredible. It's an awesome feat to never have a losing season. But the past several years when you get to the playoffs and you just get bounced and you look terrible every single time, I can't compliment you too much on it. But it is cool. It's a cool feat.
Fair enough. Casey, you got an opinion on the final game of the year?
Nah, I mean, Bengals are going to be sitting their starters regardless of where they're at. So they could be sitting at a wild card spot. They could be sitting at number 1. They're going to be sitting and resting their starters because they're going to be comfortable with where they're at. So.
All right, guys. What was your favorite part of today's show? I had a blast here today.
I thought today's show was one of the most fun shows I've ever had.
Enjoyable.
Did you have fun doing it?
I did.
Really good. I hope all the viewers had fun because I had fun. That was. What was your favorite moment of today's show? Let's do a little highlight. Let's pat ourselves on the back.
My favorite moment. What did I learn? I learned that Jacob's always right. And everything he says
I
is
probably
right.
laid that on a little too thick. I'm sorry.
I actually already knew that, so I didn't learn that at
I
all.
like
No,
the
I've known
segment
that
where
for
we
a
made
while.
fun of Jacob's tweets. That's what I liked.
I like the part where UC fans think they're right because the rest of the UC fans agreed with them.
Casey?
Casey, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part? My favorite part was the giant cotton bowl hat engulfing the universe.
So funny.
It's very funny. It's
That
a
was-
funny
that
bit.
That was funny.
So funny.
My favorite part of today's show is when I brought us back in when I said yo yo yo, 3 yos and a ho ho. I had no clue where I was going with that one. That was just off the rip. I had fun today because that's sometimes all you got to do.
I will bring the weather report back for tomorrow's show. Tomorrow's show we will have a weather report.
It's notable weather.
Oh, I know it is.
It's notable weather.
It's going to be 98 tomorrow. 99?
And a little inside Chatterbox here. all the things that I have to do this week, everything's getting pushed back like an hour for the like I have
For
to
the
work.
Heat?
I have to work the Harrison soccer game, and it's getting pushed back to 8.
Oh no.
So I got to sit there and watch. I got to do the soccer game at 8 because the Heat. And also at Harrison, this is also inside. You guys, if you've worked Harrison before, I know Elliot has, I know Casey has. That sun, early in the year, it's the
Right in
press
the window,
box
yep.
points west, due west. So, I mean, it just comes right over the hill, and it's just right in your eyes. And It's so hot.
Yikes.
It is so hot. It's just, you can't even see anything. I remember Tony Pike, when he called a game with Tom, was just like, I can't see the players on the field because the sun's just like right in your eyes.
Yeah,
And if you don't have good eyesight, it's really, you can't see anything.
Our poor camera operator for the first half last week, he just could not see anything. I mean, he was just guessing. He was looking at the video board, trying to follow the game.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. I had to give him my sunglasses, and he still couldn't see.
We've had guys like bring like cardboard boxes like to film, and they'll make like a special like viewfinder, like they look like the NFL refs in the thing. Like I've seen a guy bring a cereal box and tape it up because he knew he's working at Harrison and he's done it before, and he's like, I can't see anything, so I got to do this. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. All right, Sean Connor. I just fired Stat Muse for crediting Rush for 21 and 5. Yeah, I mean, Sean, do you think Cooper Rush has started 26 games?
Almost 2 full seasons in the NFL.
Like Dak has been there the whole time.
Can we push back on Elliott for just believing that right away too?
My favorite Elliott stat believing was when Casey
I trusted Sean. Listen, Sean. I trusted you, and you let me down big time.
Look,
I'd like an email to apologize to me because I read your stat on the air.
Like 2 months ago, I said Mahomes had thrown like 1,000 interceptions. So we all get got.
Yeah, what was the one? I still don't believe that Casey knew that it was a joke, but we used it on air one time, was that the Philadelphia Eagles had run, I think it was like 436 screens over the course of the last season that totaled for like minus 300 yards. And we read it on air, and I was like, guys, that's a fake stat. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
400 screens? That's 10 games worth of screens. Like,
Well,
negative yards too.
Any pass that's within like a few yards of the line of scrimmage is a screen.
That's true.
And any run between the tackles is a dive, right?
That's right.
That's right. No, draw.
He's
like, yeah, we're
which is even worse.
Yeah, he said it was Elliott last year. He's like, I hate when we get on the goal line and run those draws. And I was like, draws on the goal line? What
I stand by it.
about?
Here's the thing. If I say draw, you know what I'm talking about. So that's all right. That's all right. The show's over. The show's over.
I don't think you know.
The show's over.
About. Guys, I had fun today. I will not be here tomorrow. Justin Kenner will be. I got to be here for box lunch.
That's right.
I got to be on because we're gonna fantasy draft. We're gonna do our fantasy
And
draft.
somehow he returned.
We will.
Star Wars joke.
We'll see you tomorrow. I won't, but Kenner will. See you guys.